Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. It has been far too long. My apologies. It's been 5 days. 5 days since our last stream, since our last cast. But we are here. We are back with the WardiTV Monday. WardiTV Monday number 68. Your weekly dose of Open StarCraft. Bienvenidos, everyone. Bienvenidos. Good to be here. Good to be back. I do apologize for being gone for so long. Initially, the plan was to go on a 3-day hiatus, to go away for 3 days, but instead it was extended to 5. We'll be having an update later. We'll be having an update at the end of the cast as to what's been going on, and as to our return as well. But for the time being, it's time for some StarCraft, puppy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to 2 megabits and also to La Grasa in the chat as well. God, puppy. God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for resubscribing and for supporting the channel for 3 months for La Grasa and for 17 months for 2 megabits. Thank you, puppy. Thank you so much. We do appreciate the support as always as we are jumping into our cast for the day. Now, for those that are curious, the WardiTV Monday is a weekly tournament, a weekly Open Cup, and this is last week's tournaments. Again, we used to cast these on live on a weekly basis, but due to daylight savings hitting Europe, it now starts very late here in Australia. So instead we do cast it via replays a week later, at a more convenient time for us, at least here in Land of Oz. The land of Oz. Otherwise, you have our series. We're going to be jumping into the quarterfinals. It's going to be best of 3 between herO and Cure. For those that are curious regarding our schedule, we should be covering the quarterfinals into semis into grand finals. It's grand finales, papi. We will get there. Until then, though, let's jump in. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss. Representing T1, it is herO. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran for Team Liquid. It is Cure. Oh my god, it's been too long, papi. It's been 5 days away from casting, and now we'll see how if at all the meta has shifted, the meta has changed. I bring this up all the time, but when it comes to TVP specifically, it is the matchup that has shifted and adjusted and changed the most over the past year. We have seen so many shifts and adjustment in the meta. I do feel like it's still in flux at the moment in the latest patch, in the latest map pool. Of course, we've had a little bit more time after the New Year's to actually settle into the new patch and map pool, but it still feels like there's more room for growth here, and we'll see how our players will adjust. herO, of course, is very aggressive, is known for his aggressive nature in this matchup. Cure was more known for his mid-game for a long time, but here loading into Ruby Rock, we do expect to see aggression from our Terran player. Typically in the latest patch, in the latest map pool as well, we have seen Terran players excel when it comes to defending and turtling and building up to a 4-base setup, but it is more difficult to achieve that status here on Ruby Rock because of how short the rush distance is and because of how open the 3rd and 4th bases are. So we should be seeing Cure, instead of being more passive and defensive, be more assertive early on. But we'll see. We shall see. Likewise, we should be seeing something similar out of herO as well. But now herO going to be delaying the expansion. Single gas opener out of Cure, going for a Rax expand. So economic start out of our Terran player for the time being, going for his SCV scout across the map. And we're expecting our tech of choice soon from herO. We're expecting our Twilight Council. Now we have seen herO mix it up and go into charge base openers or go for a Stargate as well. I'm not too fond of Stargate play on these smaller maps. If we see it on Celestial Enclave, if we see it on Winter Madness, some of these larger maps of the map pool would make plenty of sense. On these smaller maps, so it would be very risky. Would be risky. SCV does rock up behind the middle line. Ooh, going for the bunker behind the middle line as well. Okay, the Reaper is on the way. And the purpose of this is to deny mining. Won't be able to delay the expansion, but can delay any kind of mining taking place here at the natural. Remember that this style is weaker in the latest patch, or in the latest 2 patches technically. If you remember, they did make a change where now if you attempt to salvage and the salvaging building gets attacked, the salvage is cancelled. Previously, you could get a salvage off, get a refund, and this would be a very cheap investment, a very effective and efficient investment from the Terran. Nowadays, it does cost a little bit more, as this bunker should die. But now, though, you can see the probes, they cannot mine. They're stuck here on the outskirts. The SCV is in position. It's going to be up to herO to try to focus on the SCV. It's going to be up to Cure to save the SCV, to pull back, or even jump into the bunker to keep it safe, to repair, and to deny this, and to delay for as long as possible. And so far, so good. So far, so good. You can see the SCV hiding in the bunker. As is occurring behind this, we have a 1-1-1 out of Cure, going for his own Widowmine drop. It looks like the SCV did take a hit. Shield battery is now done, and with the help of the shield battery, now we can just focus down the bunker itself. SCV doesn't attempt to escape. Here he's after it. And unfortunately here he should not bring it down. So the SCV gets out, the Reaper gets out as well. Oh, getting a probe in the main, okay. Gets a worker. Gets one, gets two. Ooh, barely two. Two probes go down for the Reaper. Not a bad trade here by Cure. He also got a full scout. Meanwhile, that's going to be a kill in the bunker. As you mentioned before, you can see the salvage was denied. You cannot salvage like this anymore, so this is a bigger investment. But did scout the Twilight Council, did scout that Blink was on the way. And technically could be another upgrade, but Blink is the standard. Hero now gains map control, and if you recall, Cure was setting up for a drop. His medevac is halfway done. His medevac's on the way for the drop. And now he's set up here on the low ground. Blink is still not even halfway done, so Hero he cannot engage. Widowmine does let him away. And it's going to be up to Hero to contain his opponent and to keep the drop at home. Speaking of, Cure loads up. He loads up, he moves out. Hero going to bait out the Widowmine shot with his Phoenix. And back at home, there's not much to defend. Widowmine goes down, only one Marine in the bunker, and we now head behind the mineral line. And remember, Cure, he's across the map. His army's across the map. He has nothing to defend back at home. He has one Marine. And that's going to be a lot of dead SCVs. And now bearing in mind that Hero, I believe he did delay his Robo. Yep, he delayed his Robo. He delayed his third gateway in favor of the third Nexus. So this is a very greedy build out of Hero. Ooh, one Stalker goes down, but miscontrol. There's the recall back home. Hero, he recognizes something is wrong. Does make it home in time, and that was 9 SCVs. Ay. 9 SCV kills. The drop does 0 damage, and Hero gets away with a greedy build. Remember, this was a third base before the Robo, before the next gateway. So was it only one gate, by the way? No shot. Yeah, it was. It was one gate. He's crazy. So one gateway to the third base into the second gate, now into the third. So just hyper greed out of Hero. Hero gets away with it. We'll lose one Stalker, but has plenty to work with. Ooh, even focusing down the medevac. Medevac goes down, Marines as well. He does get one probe, sorry, 3 probes in total. Not quite 4, but that's not worth it. That's not worth it, losing the entire medevac, the drop, the 9 SCVs, and not just that, but Hero getting away with a fast third base means that Hero is in a dominant position. He has the greater economy, he has map control, he has the army. Once again, Cure, he's moving out for some harass with his Raven at least to try to get some counter damage, but there's so much pressure on Cure right now to get something done. He's moving out. He's moving out. Meanwhile, Blink is complete, so Hero, he can blink into the main. Hallucination is in position. There's one tank here. There's one tank, one Marine, and Hero doesn't go for the dive. I mean, again, there's not much to defend back at home. He's shaking. Yeah, he's shaking with a bio army. Raven harass into the main base. Does get 2 probes. Not bad. Gets 2, and Hero doesn't go in. I feel like there was an opportunity here when there was only one Marine and one tank. I mean, you could totally blink in, tank a tank shot, and just keep going. But Hero's playing it safe. I mean, he is doing damage to the factory, to be fair. Just being more of an annoyance than anything. Likewise, I'm sure Cure does spot the observer. Tank moving forward. Do we blink in? No, does blink away. Does blink away. Get the hell out of there. And again, no major damage. I do feel like there was potential here for Hero, but Hero, again, he just played it safe. He was already ahead, and he's just maintaining his lead here. Now, when it comes to Cure's position, I was going to say that the best chance here would probably be a 2-base all-in, but he's going for a 3rd CC. So Cure, he plans on macroing out of this after the rough start. Drop moves out. Observer's in position. Hero, he spots both medevacs. Oh, they spot each other. True. The Observer was in siege mode. I was wondering like why there was a distinct hue to it, but siege mode now does reveal the Observer. True. Speaking of, there he was like, oh yeah, I should probably move the Observer. Raven's back into the main base. 4 probes, 5 probes even, plus a 2 from earlier, so 7 kills in total for one Raven. Not bad. Observer gets caught out. These are nice little wins here for Cure. 7 probe kills. The Observers even getting both. This is nice. As Cure gets his 3rd, we see Hero claiming his 4th. Hero taking up into Colossus for a splash damage, Dark Shrine for DT harass. Building up his army again. Here I still do favor his position. as he's even double expanding, getting a 4th and a 5th expansion at the same time. Jesus. Again, here is getting comfortable. If you look at the supply, remember, what do we say? The soup does lie, right? The soup does lie, and the disparity here, if you just look at the numbers, doesn't look too great, but that's only because Hero's economy is soon going to kick in with his 4th and 5th base getting up and running. Once they do, then Hero can skyrocket ahead and look to max out with a cheaper army, typically with mass elements. Appreciate the unsiege there from Hero. Second Robo's on the way for double Colossus production. So far, here he does take extra gases, so he takes 2 more gases here at the 3rd base to afford that. And going into, I say double Colossus, but double Disruptors. Disruptors are amassing. Oh, as Hero doesn't get the Widow Mine. Zell take him in from behind. And remember, this is a very cheap harassment force for Hero. That Raven is still popping up, by the way. It's like 3 probes. Oh, that's 6 SCVs. Yeah, some brutal splash damage. Friendly fire even. Oh, and this is a bold move. Hero is going for the Stargate. Now, this may just be to make a single Phoenix to hunt down this one Raven. Like, this Raven has paid for itself. It's got 10 probe kills. I say 10, getting even more. 11. So this might just be for a singular Phoenix. From here, of course, Hero has access to a fleet beacon and he can make a mothership and start thinking about Sky Toss. I don't think he needs to be honest. I think in this position, a mothership would be suffice. Would be enough. So here he's got his disruptors. We got the balls ready, Pat. 4 disruptors in total. And Novas, they can get the tank. They do zone away the army, no major connections. Nothing major yet. Hero getting a little bit trigger happy there. Oh, and he is going for the switch. Okay. I do feel like this is premature. Like, again, Hero is getting so many expansions. He's getting a 6th base. But he is switching into Sky Toss. This is typically something that you do later, like after the Terran player, as the Terran player takes a 4th base, right? As they take a 4th base, and if you fail to deny the 4th, then typically you do want to switch into Sky Toss. But this is a really early investment from Hero. It can hurt you. It's one of the reasons why Hero is not maxed out. Jesus. Hero, what do we... Oh my god. Gets 1 Widow at an SCV. Hero, calm down. He's excited, man. Oh. Okay, Nova grazes the army. Nothing major yet. If you recall, recently we did cast Classic versus Clem, and Classic did Nova the hell out of Clem. It was crazy. Throughout the course of their series. I was in last week's cast. See if Hero can replicate. Novas once again do zone Cure away. Remember that was during last week's WardiTV Monday, actually. Carrier production has begun. Hero is building up. And again, he's looking quite comfortable doing so. Where Cure still has yet to take a 4th. That's the win condition. Hero just has to deny the 4th base, keep Cure on 3 bases for as long as possible, and now we have a 7th and Nexus on the way for Hero. And if you're curious as to like why the game set is the way that it is, if you remember, Hero took a massive lead early. Remember, he took a massive lead early on, and I assumed that was going to lead into Hero being more aggressive, but Hero instead is just getting further ahead, taking more bases, gaining map control, taking it to Sky Toss, just kind of cruising his way into just a higher tech and a higher tier army. And because of the early game being so poor for Cure, he's just been stuck at home. He's just been stuck at home. If you remember, it was a couple of minutes ago where I was like, oh, like because he's so far behind, I assumed it was going to be an all-in, but he decided to get a 3rd. Right, he got a 3rd CC, so I was like, okay, he's going to macro this out, he's going to turtle up. Ooh, brutal connection. Nova goes up. And Cure, he does chase the army, and he does pick up some key units here, but remember, the Sky Toss. Like herO, he's slowly building this up, and soon he's about to reveal himself once he hits critical mass. Like herO doesn't really care about this army, this gateway composition. Now the scariest thing that's soon going to occur here is that this is going to be a lot of supply tied up in Sky Toss in a very immobile army. Recalls are going to be a big factor, but that is going to be one advantage that herO has over herO is mobility. Is his ability to backstab, to counterattack, to drop, and to try to bypass and avoid this death ball of an army that herO is building up. That's going to be the best chance. In a head-on fight, herO is going to be in a lot of trouble. But if he can avoid that fight and try to hit the 7th base, the 8th base, the 6th, jump into the main base, go for all these other counterattacks, or at least catch herO out of position, then he can excel. Does get a free Nexus. Same time, Zelarama here towards the natural. herO's in position. Main army moving in. You can see herO trying to scan for herO. Shows the Novas. First Nova goes up. Ooh, does connect. Gets a good connection. One ghost goes down, another 3 ghosts are very low. And herO, there it is, the F2. The army has been activated. There's a scan. Scan reveals a Sky Toss. herO, now he knows. For the first time. And herO, can he maybe pick up some disruptors? For now, he gets to get the hell out of here. At the same time, does backstab, does hit top right, not bad. Gets 3 bases. 3 next I go down. Oh, the disruptors are outflanking. Disruptors coming in from behind, and Nova goes up. Oof. Does connect. And some massive connections on herO. And herO, he has yet to recall. So he could recall or just base trade. And herO, he has the money, he has the bases to trade. Has EP. SCMP's boys are being pulled. Yeah, herO, he just wants to commit. Again, decent Novas. Knocking down the planetary as quickly as possible. But herO, he does have defensive weapons. Oh no, the disruptor! herO throws one away. Throws away 1, 2, 3. Oh no, the A move. The A move disruptors, he throws away 3 disruptors. That's actually pretty huge. That means he has that much less support for his Sky Toss. Throws away 3 disruptors. Defensive DTs. Oof, there's no scans. Scans are limited. Sorry, there are scans available, but scans are going to be limited. DTs defend. herO's focusing back at home. That is a lot of Vikings though. Getting 1 carrier, getting 1, 2. The carriers are slowly going down. There's not enough. Yeah, not enough Vikings, not enough anti-air. The carriers, they hold their own. And that's going to be it. I mean, herO's down to 2 Vikings, a handful of bio. Again, the soup does light. A lot of the supply are in medevacs. A lot of supply in medevacs here. We got 2 ghosts, Pat. We got 2 ghosts. And GG gets called. GG gets called. herO, he does overwhelm, and herO takes game number 1. GG. herO does take a lead in the series. Again, a very chaotic finale here to the game where herO, he was in full control. He was able to get up to 8 bases, able to take every other base on the map, able to get comfortable and take up into Sky Toss. I did feel like it was a little bit unnecessary to go that route, but he could kind of do what he wanted at that point. He could have, if he wanted to, maxed out on a gateway composition earlier and just rammed his face against the wall and broken the 3rd, or just take it easy, delay the 4th base, take up into Sky Toss, and just perfect his army. And as we mentioned, like, the best chance that herO had was to counterattack, was to base trade. We ended up in a base trade, and hey, herO killed a lot of bases. He killed like 4 or 5 Nexi. Like, he did kill a lot of bases, but unfortunately that still wasn't enough. As I mentioned, he could never engage with the main army. He could never engage with the Sky Toss because herO had just built up critical mass. GG. GG, well played. With that, herO takes the lead. Now we're going to be loading into game 2. Going to be loading into 10,000 feet. Let's go. Let us go. Another smaller map in the map pool. Okay. Another smaller map, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran for Team Liquid. It is Cure. We go. bearing in mind as well that when it comes to the outcome of last game and how we got there, remember it all came down to the early game of herO, where herO, he opened up 1 gate blink into a third base, into his 4-stalker aggression, and he achieved so much damage. Remember, herO was cutting corners. He went for his 3rd nexus before the robo, before the 3rd gateway, and before the 2nd gateway as well. Like, it was a very fast 3rd base, and herO, he happened to be moving out as Cure went for his drop. So Cure had nothing at home to defend, and he lost 9 SCVs. Could have lost even more, to be honest, but he lost 9 SCVs back at home, and he failed to get any counter damage, and herO got away with his fast 3rd, and that's why herO had such a comfortable mid-game last game in game 1, just because of the early game and how successful it was for herO. So we'll see if Cure can tighten up. We'll see if he can have a bit of a cleaner and a more robust early game here to be on equal footing. For now we do have it. Players opening up. Gate expand here out of herO. Cure once again going for a single gas geyser. Remember last game he went for a Rax expand into a Marine Widowmine drop into a 1/1/1. And so far, once again, no second gas geyser. So once again, going for the faster CC, going for that economic start. This typically does lead into drop play, but we'll keep an eye on Cure. We'll see if he does go for an earlier add-on swap into, say, like a Banshee-based opener instead. If he goes into a more committed Hellion setup. So far, though, same build. Reaper into Marine, and no excess Reapers. Just moving out to scout. Reaper picks in. Oh, gee. I was not expecting this for an opener here, especially on 10,000 feet. That is a 3rd CC before factory. Hyper greed here out of Cure, going for a 3 CC, 3 racks, a build that Björn popularized in recent years. Hyper greed, very biocentric, but this does make sense on 10,000 feet. Now, very quickly here, what is the biggest weakness of this build? It is hyper greedy, that is true, but we should be expecting a 3rd Rax. What does that mean? That means that the factory is very late. It's a very delayed factory build. There's that 3rd Rax as you mentioned. So late tank production. So because of that, heavy Stalker aggression can be very successful and can kill the Terran player because their tank production is non-existent and they have to defend with purely Marines early on. But specifically on 10,000 feet, I would say that 3 and 4 gate blink aggression is weaker. Speaking of, this time, extra gateways, no 3rd. So remember, last game, herO already had a 3rd base on the way. This time, 2 more gates, 3 gate blink. So he is going for 3 gate blink aggression. This is not often seen on this map. Why is that? Because rotating from this entrance here, this ramp, all the way over to the natural entrance is very awkward. It's a very awkward rotation. It's a very long rotation as well. Hallucination scouts. Hallucination sees everything, by the way. He sees a 3cc 3x, and herO knows to apply pressure. He's going for his 3rd base. Stalkers are going to be building up. Oh, but again, this is going to be without any kind of robo. Bear that in mind. So herO, it looks like he sees the greed and he responds with his own economic follow-up here, going for a delayed robo into his 3rd base as quick as he can after all the gateways. But again, the pressure is on herO. And as we mentioned, trying to rotate between this blink entrance and also the natural entrance is very awkward. It's not very efficient. And yeah, herO, he responds not just with a 3rd, 2 more forges. 2 more forges going to be on the way. So herO, he's being hyper greedy. He's being hyper greedy here to try to catch up with Cure. But he needs more than that. He needs to find some damage here. He can blink into the main base. Remember, he has a hallucination with the sentry. And now, poking into the natural. Stim is just over halfway done. Again, 4 gate blink would hit so hard here. But there's only 3 gateways. Prism into the main to distract, pulling Cure out of position. Okay, Cure gets dragged into the main. herO pushing in, going for the bunker, and the bunker will go down. And not bad. Takes out the bunker. The SCVs are exposed again. Cure, he's still not here. I mean, Stim is not yet done. Nice catch on 2 Marines. Nothing major yet, but damage nonetheless. Now getting some SCV kills. Stim is done in 7 seconds. Nice snipe on the Marauder. Oh, clutch blink away. And herO gets a bunker, a Marauder, 3 Marines, 2 SCVs. Not bad. And as you mentioned, the pressure was on herO to get some damage done because of the Greed of Cure. So this has been a good response out of herO. It's been good. There's a Marine. Getting another. Doesn't quite get the Marauder, but again, very efficient trades here. herO, he has lost 0 units, by the way. He's killed 8 Marines, 1 Marauder, 1 Reaper, 2 SCVs, and a bunker. Not bad, not bad. And also denied mining time. So again, very efficient trades here out of herO. Now getting a 4th expansion in the center of the map. Still being active. Rotating towards the main. Boost nations in position, and here is not. Uh-oh, there's an opening. Yeah, opening into the main base, going for the add-ons. Reactor is going to get sniped. He might even get a Marauder. Doesn't go for it. Gets the hell out of there. So Reactor pulls away, even recalls, just in case. Now, what's important is that Kira's taken a lot of losses. That is true. But remember, because of his greedier starts, that makes up for it. Ideally, Kira would have been further ahead and would have been able to just skyrocket ahead and snowball out of control. Now his lead has been lessened and the armies are missing each other. Uh-oh. Kira gets spotted. Yeah, Kira gets spotted here. He respects it. He does respond. He's racing back home. And herO, can he survive this? The upgrades are done. Kira, he has +1. Stim combat shields. Ooh, we have slow lots? Oh god. I don't think that's intentional. Yeah, mine shot goes off, the Zealots, they get shut down. And without Zealots support, this army is so fragile. Yeah, at the same time though, herO deals with all the Marines. And herO barely holds on. Ooh, even sniping 2 Marauders in the retreat. Very nice. Again, the Marauders are the backbone of this army, and without them, ooh, a 3rd Marauder goes down. herO, he survives the push, he survives the timing. Remember, that was the the +1 timing here of Cure. Doesn't break through. Oh, as herO will lose 1 Stalker. So please add a couple of Stalkers. Cure forced back. I still will say that Cure has momentum on his side, and at least until herO gets splash damage. But because of the length of the map, because this map is so small, you can see here the 3rd bases, they're right next to each other. It takes very little time to push. Here's aware, he's setting up for a run by. You see herO trying to distract. But he's too soon. Yeah, he's too soon. The Zealots are getting caught. Some brutal losses. Prism into the main base at the same time. Okay. Not bad. Finding some damage. A couple of Zealots do get away. And here he goes to the warp in. Can he go for the eBay? Won't be able to snipe it, but once again, just trying to distract Cure. Poking away. And he was just buying time for Colossus. You can see the Colossus production has begun. He needs time, a little bit more time for his first Colossus. He has to be so careful. As soon as he loses this Prism, as soon as these Zealots get cleaned up, the Cure will push. And here he snipes the eBay. Okay. Denies +2. Not bad. I didn't think he would get it. Denies +2. Recalls back home. The first Colossus has now arrived. He's got 1, soon to be 2 Colossi. And now he's ready. Now hero's ready for the counterattack. It's still going to hit quite hard. You can see the Cure is almost maxed. Again, that's the power of the fast 3rd TC. Oh. herO, he doesn't get much done here. And here comes Cure. And again, it takes mere seconds to get across the map. He's already here. Cure's already arrived. With 2 Colossi, herO, does he have enough? It's going to be difficult. Doesn't have much Stalker support. Nice force fields though. True. Nice force fields, locks down the army. Make use of that SimCity, baits out the mine shot, but does miss rally a couple stalkers. Very tense hold. herO does hold on though. He survives. Now, as herO holds here, the momentum is going to swing from one player to the other. herO, he's about to get into 4 Colossi. There's a third, the fourth one is about to pop. And with 4 Colossus and with a lower Viking count, Cure's in trouble. Again, you can see here, Cure, he has 0 Vikings. He's only just now starting Viking production himself. Here we go, the first 2 Vikings are coming in. Here he spots them, gets 1, gets both. Yeah, 0 Vikings. Against 4 Colossus, man. Here comes a third, here comes a fourth. Yeah, 4 Colossus arrive, 0 Vikings, 0 anti-air. I'm sure they're Marines, they melt, and here he's done it. He just overwhelms. And again, it was a very tense game. Cure, he had some moments, he had some timings available to him. But herO did an amazing job when it came to distracting, harassing. GG gets called, and herO, he will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew, GG, well played again. Very tense and very impressive at second game here. Game 1 was a lot more straightforward. Game 1 was herO taking lead early and maintaining that and just extending it and just snowballing from there. Sure, it did end in a base trade, but for the most part, herO had nothing to be concerned about. Here in Game 2, it was a lot closer here. We saw that there were these big power spikes, these big pushes that Cure had available to him, but it was so crucial that we saw that tri-pronged attack, that we saw herO going for the Zealot run by, Prism drop, Stalker harass at the front lines as well. We saw a lot of aggression there, and it wasn't really about doing damage. It did find damage. He was able to kill a couple of SCVs and snipe the eBay, for example, but it was about delaying, right? It was about delaying, it was about keeping Cure busy until we got Colossus. And he got him. He got the first 2 Colossus, which allowed him to defend the first push, and then with the next wave up to 4 Colossi, he could end the game. End the game. GG. GG, well played. So very clutch defense there and very intense game, but congratulations to herO. herO does take the series, and herO, he will advance on into the semi-finals, and we're about to find out who will face off against him in those semis. Up next, we have another best of 3 TVZ this time. Clem versus Solar, also in the quarterfinals. Let's go. Let us go. Game 1 is going to be on Ruby Rock. Let's jump in. Just catching up in the chat. Oh, share my papi, share my. ST36. Good to see you, papi. Good to see you. Share my. As we're getting into our first series, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the French Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Blue Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Solar. Here we go. Just catching up with the chat. Even 8 was not enough. He let herO transition to Skytools without being scattered. That was not necessarily what occurred. If you remember in that game, we tried to emphasize that Cure, he lost a lot of momentum early on in the game, and he was stuck and contained, and he was turtling on a low base count. If you recall, that was just because of the early game going so poorly for Cure, just because he took a lot of economic damage and he lost map control, and that's why he had a really hard time stabilizing in Game 1 specifically. Just referring to a YouTube comment. Into Game 1. But it wasn't necessarily about Cure not scatting the Sky Toss. It was about herO just. I mean, remember, herO, he had 8 bases. Like he had 8 bases against 4, papi. Like it was again, like the early game was just so rough for Cure, which led into herO's position. Even if he didn't go into Sky Toss, like I feel like herO would have been very comfortable there. But regardless, here we go. We're getting into our first series. So far, standard opener out of Clem. Likewise, Solar going for his own hatch gas pool. Everything's looking normal so far. And welcome once again to Ruby Rock. Another one of these more aggressive maps. Again, shorter rushes and spike round, more open bases, and more aggression is favored here. Now, I was going to say that typically I would expect to see a Roach-based build and Roach-based play out of Solar. But because of the recent changes to the Baneling, it means that Ling Bane is much more viable here. So we could see Solar commit into Ling Bane instead. We'll see what he goes for, Ling Bane or Roach Ravager. for now, we are taking our third base. Everything's looking normal for the time being. Normal so far. As the Queen pops out in time, and nice control with the Zerglings, as Solo doesn't lose a single unit here, does zone Clem away. Behind this, Clem going for a third CC before Starport, so standard economic opener out of Clem. Standard economic opener. And I'm more interested in how Solar is going to take up himself. Does he go into double Evo chamber? Does he go into a faster lair? Does he go into an earlier Bailey nest? We're about to find out. Clem is zoned away. From here, Clem just getting to zone 111. Reactor to Hellion production. From here, we can add on swap into Banshee play, or we can go into earlier Stim. We'll see if he goes for the swap or not. There it is. Opening up Banshee. So 3 CC Banshee. When it comes to mech in the recent patch, yes, we have seen Clem embrace mech against Zerg in the past, even against Protoss as well, but that was in previous times, in the previous Cyclone as well, bear that in mind. Clem isn't really one to mix in mech too much here. No, it's against Zerg, not anymore. We still have seen mech against Clem, he still has played mech against Protoss, he has dabbled in that at least, especially on smaller maps. But against Zerg is more fond of Bio. Oh, as Clem doesn't quite get in. Doesn't sit by. Getting ready for Stim. We have our tech of choice. It is going to be a lair first out of Solar, so he is getting into a bit of a safer start. What I mean by that, if you wanted to be greedy, we could have seen double Evo chamber. Double Evo chamber, faster upgrades, faster 1-1, but Solo's playing it safe here. With this, it does lead into an earlier Overseer Scout and earlier upgrades, specifically Bailing speed. So that was just a 4:30 lair timing. Meanwhile, there's that Bio setup out of Clem. As now Clem is looking for a way in. We'll lose one Hellion. Nice target firing at a Solar, but ooh, the 4th base is cancelled. Yeah, rough cancellation, rough denial. If he loses that 4th base once again, then he may just never get it up and running. And already does have a bit of momentum here. Bearing in mind he's building up towards his eventual 2-2 timing with Stim. That'll hit around 7 minutes. And if the 4th base isn't set up by then it's going to be in a world of hurt. Banshees, they move in for a second time. The 4th base is once again denied. This is brutal. Oh, the Jordan, no! Yeah, Jordan forced the morph into a spore. Hellions coming in from behind. Lings are in position, catching out one of the Hellions. Oh, God. Yeah, and as the Queens are busy, that's going to be another cancel. Oh no, that should have been another cancel. That's a kill. That's a kill, another cancel. Very rough start here. And as we mentioned, we were alluding to the fact that if Solo was denied the space for a second time, it's not going to finish. It's too late. Remember, Clem, he's building up towards Stim and +1. This should hit in the next minute or so. We're almost there. And without that expansion, without the larva, without the production, without the economy, then Solo's just going to fall over. He's denied once again. That's for the 3rd time. And one of them was a kill. Oof, and Solo's going into +1 range. He's going into Hydra production. So there's a bit of a give and take here. Because he's not going into Ling Bane, it does mean that Larva is a little bit less important, at least, thankfully. But this is still a very gas intensive and just a very expensive kind of setup here to go into Mass Hydra. It's going to be a tough hold. It's going to be a tough hold for Solar. You can see he's double expanding to make up for it. Nice catch. Very nice catch here on the Hellions. And that's something at least. The worst case scenario would have been those Hellions escaping, morphing into Hellbats, and then supporting this push. I mean, that could have been game, to be honest. That could have been game then and there. But catching all those potential Hellbats does mean that this tank timing is going to be that much weaker. Did mention this hits at around 7 minutes, and you're seeing it here at 7:20. Clem is pushing, and his goal here is to break the 4th base again. And remember, Solar Heat has a Bailey Nest that's still not yet done. So no Bailey Nest. Instead, the faster layer was for the Hydras, so he has Ling Hydras to defend. Tank is getting in position. And Clem, bearing in mind he has left his reinforcements at home, his Banshees as well, he's going to pull out. Again, Clem, he didn't commit to the timing. He's deflected, building up his 4th CC. And again, Solar, he has some catching up to do. He has a lot of catching up to do here. Bearing in mind that the Zergklay wants to be up in expansion, they want to be up in workers to be equivalent with the Terran. So far, Clem is looking solid. And he hasn't lost any major units yet either. And remember, there's a big window in time where he can punish, he can abuse Solar before Bailing speed. Remember, we have 9 Bailings morphing in, there's going to be slow Banes. The slow Banes are going to be waddling in. And with that, we can see a big stim here from Clem. Bailings, they should be focused down. They are focused down. Now it's just pure Hydra. Pure Hydra's backy. Oh, and they're not going to trade well here. They're trading gas for minerals. Marines, they hold their own. They focus out all the Hydras. And with that, Clem, he has broken at the 4th base. I spoke too soon. We're running out of Marines. Okay. Barely running out of Marines. Whew. Solar holds. Solar, he holds on. I'm a little bit... Oh, jeez. I'm a little bit afraid to look here. How many Hydras just went down? 17. 17 Hydras went down. We got 10 Hydras left. Now, Solar does survive the first wave, but that was merely wave 1. Here comes wave 2. And remember, there's no Banes. Like, there's... it's purely Marine Hydra. Pure Marine Hydra. Reapers receding. Reinforcements have arrived. See Solar trying to hold his own here, trying to survive until Lurker. His Lurker Den is on the way. He needs the Lunkers back. Oof. And Solar, he is barely going to hold on once again. He's holding on with the Hydras. Overwhelms the tank. We can see Clem is switching into Mass Widowmine. I'm still a little bit on the fence about this. Biomine is ideal against Mutabase play. Against Hydra into Lurker, I would say that tanks are a little bit more effective here. Or they just are more effective. But this is a faster and a cheaper Remax, that is true. So it's more momentum based. Where Clem just wants to kill, and he knows how close he is. He knows he's very, very close to breaking Solar. So Clem just wants to rally and reinforce as quickly as he can. Still no Bailing speed, by the way. Still no. And mine shots going up. Brutal connections. Play Solar, he's holding on. Back. Ooh, is that another kill? Kill. Hey, 1 Bailing does connect. Let's go. As Bailing speed now starts up. And again, like, at least I feel like I can see the frustrations of Clem where he just wants to kill Solar. Just non-stop rallying here. Moving in, decent mine shots. Oh, forcing a bit of friendly fire. Oh, how many lurkers do we have? 1. Oh, 1 lurker so far. Oh, and a brutal connection. Now, if Solar can build up his lurker count, he can slow the game down. For sure. He can slow things down, but he would have a northern drop. Moving in. Distracting reinforcements. As Clem does snipe the expansion. He's on another hatchery. Sniping the Bailings. Bailing speed finally finishing up, but no. Not going to be enough to connect. And here comes the main army. Main army is now moving in for Clem. We got the one lunker back. Now, thankfully, Clem, he doesn't have any ghosts yet. Oof. Oh, God, but the mine shots are insane. At least the initial one. Ghosts now arrive. They're trying to get on top of that lurker. A nice control. Kites back those ghosts. And Clem once again barely... Sorry, Solo once again barely does hold on. Barely holding back. He wants those ghosts. Oh, can he get one? He gets one. Yeah, one ghost goes down. He gets punished for it though. Lurker's a attempt to run by, but there's detection here alongside the planetary. Lurker does get behind the mineral line. Okay. And Clem is forced to back off. He's forced to race back to defend, to deal with this one lurker. Solo, for the first time all game, he finally gets some room to breathe. Finally take a moment to himself. And you can see just how battered and bruised he is. Solo, he just lost 2 expansions. Has to rebuild, has to replenish. Solo, he has no bank to work with. Trying to get into 3-3. There's going to be a window in time where Clem has 3-3 over Solar. Lurker does catch a ghost. And again, the goal here for Solar is just survive until he can max out with his lurkers. Just try to survive, try to buy some time, but these lurkers are on their own. Here come the snipes. Gets one. We get some okay bailing connections here, but the snipes are brutal, sniping 2 more lurkers. And 1 lunker left. Snipes are popping up, another expansion goes down. Up until this point, I feel like that lurker was on hold position, right? Like it was... And at this point, you can see Solo coming up out of the seams. And there it is, GG. GG gets called. Solo, he has nothing left. And Clem, he takes the lead in the series, taking game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, a really rough start there for Solar. Even though Solar did survive, and I was very impressed with his ability to last as long as he did, the reality is that even though he was surviving and even though he was able to, again, last that time, Clem was in no danger. He was in no danger that game. A lot of it came down to the early game momentum. Clem sniping and killing. Sorry, he first canceled the 4th base, then he killed, and then he canceled again. It was 2 cancellations and 1 kill on the 4th base. This heavily slowed down Solar. Thankfully, Solar, he was not going into Ling Bane initially, he was going into Ling Hydra, so it meant that the lack of lava wasn't impacting his defense as much as it otherwise would. So that is one of the reasons why Solar did survive and defend and maintain and maintain his 4 bases at least. But it was still some rough losses, and it meant that as a result, Clem was able to freely get a 4th, a 5th base. He had a free economy that was never harassed outside of that one lurker getting behind the mineral line, and likewise the upgrades and momentum, the macro there from Clem was untouched as a result. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 2, and we'll see if Solo can have a bit of a cleaner early game. I should also emphasize that one of the other reasons why the early game was so rough for Solar is because of the map as well, right? The map of Ruby Rock is so small that it allowed Clem's aggression to be that much more potent on that smaller map. It made it more difficult for Solar to actually expand and get a 4th base. Here in game 2, we should be having a bit of an easier time. We'll see. As game 2, going to be loading into Winter Madness. Winter Madness is one of the larger maps in the map pool, alongside Celestial Enclave, alongside Mothership, is one of the larger maps. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the French Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Zerg player, the Red Zerg, the South Korean Zerg, representing Team Falcons. It is Solar. Go. Yo están in the chat. Bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Let us return to our lives. It's only 5 days, papi. 5 días. It was a long 5 days, to be fair. It's a long 5 days. Bienvenidos. Ghost is so good. I mean, sure, at the same time though, even without the ghost. Like, again, like the game was going so well there for Clem. Like Solar, he was just treading water. He was doing everything he could to just survive, to survive, to stop himself from drowning. Yeah, technically Clem could have brute forced it even without ghosts, but in the end, you know, he was able to just overwhelm Solar. And here we go. Here we go. Welcome to Winter Madness. Now, as we mentioned before, this is a larger map, so Solar should have an easier time getting a fourth base, and hopefully that's the case, right? Hopefully he's able to establish his fourth base and get into the mid game in a more stable fashion. If he's unable to, then we could see a repeat of game one. And again, there were a couple of key moments for Solar, like him surrounding all the Hellions, for example. That was probably like the main big part, actually, was catching out the Hellions. But it did make sure that the follow push was that much weaker. We'll see what our players go for this time. Now, as I load into game 2 here, this is where I have to mention that Mutaplay has become a lot more viable, has become a lot more popular, and on these larger maps like Winter Madness, like Mothership, like Celestial Enclave, Mutaplay has been more viable, and we have seen it from players like Shin, players like Raynor, even players like Solar. So Mutaplay is something that we have to remind everyone of and bring up coming into Winter Madness. Otherwise, we could see another tech-heavy start going into a faster Hydra Den. I do think that it would be easier on this map for Solar to get into Lurkers, for sure. I do think it should be easier compared to last game. We'll see which one Solar goes for. So now we have our third CC before starports. Opening up Reactor Hellion into Cloak Banshee. So again, just same build here, 2 games north for Clem. As Clem just pokes in, being an annoyance. No major damage, just killing 1 drone, I believe. Sorry, 1 lane. 1 Zergling. Solar attempts his own, and Solar, he should be able to catch out that Reaper. Oh, that's way too soon. Never mind. Reaper gets away, Lings get cleaned up, Hellions have now arrived, and Clem is going to be looking for an opening here. He's going to be sharking around, looking for a way into the third base, into the natural. It's going to be up to Solar to keep up with the Hellion movement. So Clem is poking in. Looks in, pulls away. Oh, okay, yes, that Clem going into not Cloak, but Hyperflight Rotors instead. Going into Speed Banshees. Typically, this is indicative of mech. I'm not saying that Clem is going to get into mech now, but that's usually what this leads into a second factory. But there we go. We do have our second racks on the way, so it is going to be Cloak Banshee. Sorry, it's going to be Speed Banshee into Bio. Interesting choice. Once again, Solar going for layer first, so 430 layer timing. Last game, this led into faster Hydras. And I'm not opposed to that here. As I mentioned before, I do feel like going to Hydra Lurker is going to be easier on Winter Madness. Aliens poke in, Wings in position. Banshees are getting ready. I remember last game, Clem was able to cancel the 4th base twice and kill the 4th base at one time as well. But this time, you can see that Solar, he's a little more secure. He's got 2 queens at the entrance of the natural and the 3rd. He's got 3 queens here near the 4th base. Solar, he's producing some lings as well, just in case it's a dive. And Solar, this time, he should maintain his 4th. Queens get pulled away. Hellies, they go straight for the dive into the middle line. Is going for the 3rd, getting 1. Okay, just the one drone. Pulls away. Clem, he saw an opening, playing it safe, rotating over towards the queens. Now started firing at a solar. Oh, he almost gets one of the banshees. Almost. As Banshee does pull back, and Solar, he's going for the same build. +1 range is on the way, and the Hydra Den. So it is once again Ling Hydra as the opener for Solar. What does this mean? This means that he can go into faster lurkers. And that is going to be the big power spike for Solar. And as we mentioned before, this is an easier map to defend on. As you're seeing here, the 4th base this time is secure. This time there's no cancellation. He secures his 4th base. He should be able to defend his natural. Yep, Lings are in position. Cashing out one of the Hellions. The Hydras have arrived. You can just see how important the maps are when it comes to the outcome of some of these builds and what you can get away with, what you can't. What's easier, what's more difficult. Here, Solar completely shuts down the Hellion aggression. Banshee gets thrown away, killing only one drone. Reaper makes up for that a little bit. The 7-minute Reaper harass. Oh my god. Getting a drone. Once again, Solar, he's now going to be able to freely build up his Hydras and tech into Lurker tech. Meanwhile, back at home, Clem getting a second factory. 4th CC is on the way. We're building up into the mid-game, into a more macro game state. The pace is going to be a lot slower this time. A lot slower paced. As the game is slowing down. Giving Solar the opportunity to macro up, to get a 5th. And actually play some StarCraft. Like, as I mentioned, last game, Clem was never in any danger, right? Clem, he was in control the entirety of game 1. But here, Soul can actually get into the mid-game himself and actually pose a threat to Clem. Jesus, this one bit. As the Banshee does fall. Here comes Clem's move out with 1-1. As good as 1-1 timing, but you can see the Solar setting up for a flank. Bathing speed is completed. He's going to be able to catch out one of the tanks, getting both even. Yeah, 2 tanks go down, massive pickoffs. Bathing speed is done this time. And Clem has to be so careful with his movement. Let's be so careful. Nice target firing. Hive is on the way. We should be seeing a Lurker Den soon. We don't have a Lurker Den yet. Interesting. Ideally, you want the Lurker Den to line up with a Hive, just so you can get those upgrades. Now they're solo coming with Ling Bane Hydra. And Clem is trying to pull him apart, dropping into the natural. Spore zone away. We have a second army here towards the top side, but likewise, Solar's also in position. Ooh. A decent mine shot. Mine shot goes off. Oh no! That connects to the Bailings. We get some decent Bailing connections here on the Bayou, though. And the Hydras, they keep up with the main army. Oh no! Yeah, a bit of miscontrol here, catching 2 full medevacs. That should not have happened. As Clem did miss rally. If you saw that for 1 second, he moved into the Hydras. And it's going to cost him 2 full medevacs, even a 3rd. So big misstep there for Clem. And now the Lurker Den is almost done. As we mentioned here, that's going to be the big power spike. If you notice, Solar has been defending the entire time so far. He's been stuck at home defending, and he successfully defended his 4th base and defended his 5th. And it's all about defending until Lurkers. Just turtle until Lurker tech. And then once Solar has Lurkers, then he can start to move out. As, ooh, decent Windowman connections. One shot goes off. Rough defense here on the south side as we need some Ling Bane. Oh my god. Mine shots. Very juicy connections here for Clem. Next with the Ling Bane, we can see Clem already switching into Ghost. That's going to be necessary for the Lurkers. Speaking of, Lurker range is on the way. Of course, Medevac is aware of the Lurkers. Or Clem is aware of the Lurkers. And here they come. The first wave of Lurkers are now in production. And as we mentioned, as soon as Solar, this defense is going to turn into an offense. Once he builds up those Lurkers, he can stop defending and start applying pressure to the bases of Clem. Up until this point, Clem has had map control. That should soon change. Powerbomb on the Medevacs. Ling Bane chasing down the drop. And as we mentioned, a zip on Q. You Solar, he's not being active. Now that his Lurkers are online, Solo only fighting with half his army, but here comes us around. They're trying to force friendly fire. Overseers, they bailed out the mine shots. A bit of an awkward engage here, and it looks like these Lurkers are going to get sniped. Yeah, losing one, losing two Lurkers. There's two Lurkers left over. We have Hydras coming in to reinforce, and Clem holds. And Clem does hold on again. It was a bit of a disjointed engagement here from Solar. As you mentioned, his Lurkers were kind of on their own. His reinforcing army never quite did engage in time. So an awkward engage here from Solar. And that was a pretty important win for Clem. Here we go. 5 more Lurkers on the way. Here comes wave 2. Wave 2 for Solar. Going for the 5th Nexus. Again, the base is exposed. There are 5 Lurkers with the army. And the command center is going to be focused down. Does get a snipe. Takes down the base. And really, this is all that Solar needs. Deny the 5th. Oh no! Just deny the 5th base over and over again. Lurkers they keep pushing forward. 1 Lurker does go down. 4 Lurkers left. Uh-oh. And you can see Solar gaining more ground here. Catching up more bio. Just wedging his way in between the bases. And getting up this ramp is going to be game. He's almost there. He just has to get up the ramp. After he started stepping forward, Lurkers, they get in position. And again, it was only with 5 Lurkers as well. Down to 3, down to 2. 2 Lurkers left. Another CC goes down. And Solar's done it. GG gets called. Solar, he overwhelms. He ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, a much cleaner early game this time out of Solar. As you mentioned, the map was a big part of that as well. Aggression is more tempered here on Winter Madness, especially in the early game. So we saw that this time Clem was unable to cancel the 4th base. Was unable to cancel the 4th, was unable to cancel the 5th base. This time Solar had a very comfortable early game with his economy, with his bases, with his tech as well. As you mentioned, it was all about that win condition, that big power spike with Lurkers. Just defend and turtle until Lurker attack. And he got there. Solar, he was able to get there, get into his Lurkers. It wasn't even that many. It was only 5 Lurkers that he pushed with, and he was able to break out and able to get up that ramp on Winter Madness. GG. GG, well played. With that, we now have a tied series, and we're loading into the ace match. Going to be loading into White Rabbit. Oh, okay, another one of these larger maps, but this one is a little bit different. Let's go. Let's get into it. Now, technically, I believe this map is larger than Winter Madness, but I would say it's less defendable. The big difference here is that on White Rabbit, the bases are spread out. They're spread out that much more. You are more spread thin as you get into your 4 and 5 bases, so it can be more difficult to defend. We'll get into it. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the French Terran player. We have the red Terran. Oh, being forced into a tied series for Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player. The blue Zerg player himself representing Team Falcons. It is Solar. Here we go. Happy back. Ah, less than 3. Happy less than 3. Why is he trading units with Hydras? If you recall, if you weren't there for the beginning of the game, for the past 2 games, Solar has been going for a more Hydra heavy composition, less Ling Bane. Ling Bane has been more of a supportive unit, and it's been very, very Hydra heavy. So you have been seeing him trade more with his Hydras, as that has been more of a core unit. And as you saw, it is a little bit more like quote unquote all in, or maybe a better word is more committed kind of style, because your goal there is to kill, is to just try to break through, just spearhead your way through the army, in between the bases, and just end the game then and there. As we mentioned, there weren't even that many lurkers. It was only 5 lurkers in total, only 3 towards the end of the game. But Soul was able to maintain and gain that momentum. Likewise, it was also Clem bleeding out a lot of units, right? Clem, he was committing a lot into his drop play, and he bled out a lot as he failed to be aggressive with those drops. A big moment and a big reason why Soul was able to gain map control the way that he did, if you remember, was when Clem miscontrolled and rallied 2 medevacs into the army. Technically 3 medevacs, 3 full medevacs into the army, and Clem, he lost 2 full medevacs as a result of that, bled out a lot of units, and that was the moment where Solo got comfortable and was able to just calm down, tech up into Hive, into his lurkers, and then bam, strike. Solar. But here we go. Here we go. Welcome to White Rabbits. Once again, this is a larger map of the map pool, that is true, but these bases are a little bit more exposed. The entrance here into the linear 3rd base is massive. Likewise, I can say the same here about the entrance into the linear 4th base as well. So trying to defend these bases is more difficult than on Winter Madness. Even here, the entrance in between the bases is also massive as well. So very, very wide open entrances into all the expansions. That is a way to combat just how large the map is. Likewise, it isn't just large entrances, but the distance between the bases is also longer, so defensive rotations can take more time, and if you're unable to keep up with the movement of your opponent, if you're not in position, then you're going to be punished that much more for it. So there's a bit of a give and take. Map is large, yes, but the bases are more vulnerable. Oh, okay. As for the first time this series, Clem, he does mix up the build. He is going for a 3rd CC, but for the past 2 games, it's been 3 CC Banshee. This time 3 CC 211. Second racks before the starport. A very heavy bio composition into much, much earlier stim. So we have an early stim timing here out of Clem. There's a bit of a give and take. The downside of this build is that you will be committing into less Hellions. So you're going to be cutting Hellion production earlier, so your Hellion presence is going to be weaker this game. It does mean that Solar can take advantage of that and spread more creep and make less Lings, cut corners, and drone up a little bit harder earlier on, only if Solar can recognize what exactly is going on. If he doesn't realize that Clem is cutting corners, that Clem is going into a more heavy Marine composition, and if he doesn't take advantage of that, then Clem can take advantage of Solar instead. Now Clem poking in. There's Yadonsop into Mass Marine. So only 4 Hellions, whereas typically you'd go up to 8. Ooh, that was a scout. Yeah, that was a scout. So quickly, Solar, he did confirm both racks, as he knows. He's aware of the 3CC 2-on-1. Solar should be joining. He should drone up as hard as he can, get a 4th base, get his queens, and potentially even get +1 carapace. Eva Chambers on the way, just 1 Eva Chamber before the lair. So far, solid reaction, solid response out of Solar. When going up against these heavy bio compositions and when going up against early 2-on-1s or 3CC 2-on-1s, it is important to go for the early Eva Chamber into carapace. This is the most important upgrade against bio. The reason for this is because the rate of fire is very high for Marines, and every attack, I should say that the carapace upgrade does apply to every single attack from the Marine as well. So it's even that much more effective, that much more useful. So Solar, he's reacting well. As he's joining up on 3 bases. We should soon be seeing the 4th. As Solar, he does play it safe. He does go for an earlier Banelin Nest and a later lair. What does that mean? As he does catch out the Reaper. But basically, this early Baneliness timing is designed to defend against a Hellbat push. Technically, this could be 3 CC 2-on-1 Hellbats. True, that build does exist, and we have seen it from Clem and other top Terrans in the past. So this Baneliness is a bit of a waste. It is ready for Hellbats that will not exist. So Solo playing it safe. This does mean that his lair is later, and it also means that Baneling's speed is going to be delayed as well. As the drop does arrive, going straight for the expansion. Nice cancellation. Ooh, that should not have happened. That should not have happened. Solo, he was out of position. Unable to deny the drop, and so far this has been worth it for Clem. Even getting a queen. Queen goes down. Does he get it again? No shot. As he starts as well, again the creep has just not been spread in time. There's no creep in position, which means Clem can just keep dancing with the army. Getting another queen. Another queen goes down. Medevacs pull away. And so far, so good. Clem, he forced 1 cancellation, he killed 2 queens, traded with the Ling Bane, escaped with both medevacs. So far, it has been a nice opening. And Clem is not done, he's reinforcing. You can see he just keeps applying that pressure. This time, this is going to be a main push here, hitting at 7 minutes with 1-1. 1-1 upgrades are about to finish up. So a very strong 1-1 timing. And the creep is attempting to spread. This is brutal high ground as well. We can see Solo trying to come in from behind. But the queens are exposed. Yeah, no Banelings. No Banelings. The Marines, they can just stim in. He will deny the expansion. And that is a brutal loss here for Solo. Losing the base. That's a kill, not a cancel as well. Lings, they come in from behind. They get on top of the tank. But Clem, he's traded so well. He may just even end the game. He will. Yeah, he snowballs out of control. He stims and he wins, kills all the Banelings, the Lings. GG gets called. And Clem will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played. A very rough start there for Solar. Again, unfortunately, Solar, even though there were only 4 Hellions, if you recall, something that we mentioned with this build from Clem is that he has less Hellions to deny creep, and it is so important that the Zerg player is able to spread their creep and actually maintain and defend that position at the 4th base. To see the 4th base cancelled, it's very reminiscent of game 1. Very reminiscent. Once you lose that 4th base, momentum, the dominoes, they start falling. They start falling. Momentum swings heavily in favor of the Terran player. They can keep applying pressure. They can ensure that you do not spread any more creep, and that 4th base is not going to finish. It's not going to finish. It is killed then and there. That's game. That's game. GG, well played. Clem, he will claim the series, and he will advance on. Oh, let's go. Planning to replay cast any of the Hero Marine tournaments. Not sure if the replays were published. I don't have access to them. I don't know if he's going to make them public. So currently we have no plans to cover it, but I think that was the Experian Cup, right? So currently we have no plans, but potentially maybe in the future if they become public and if we have the room in our schedule. Right now, because we did have 5 days off from casting, we have a lot of catching up to do when it comes to events. So our schedule's pretty jam-packed at the moment, but we'll try, especially with the Thunderfire event, right? Like, there's a lot of Chinese tournaments around the corner as well, so solid maybe on that one. Solid maybe. If the replays become public. But otherwise, GG well played. Clem will claim the series. Shout out to Solar for fighting back. But I will say that, again, he had a bit of an easier time on Winter Madness. That was his map, his game to take, and he was able to look quite strong there. Unfortunately, was unable to defend his 4th base here against Clem in Game 3. And now we're getting ready for the semi-finals. It's going to be Clem versus who? Clem versus herO. If you recall, herO just took down Cure earlier in the quarterfinals, and now they'll face off against each other. Un momento. Semi-finals. Bam. herO, T1. Bam. But here we go. Again, these two, they often face off in the finals of these events, but due to seeding, they're going to be facing off in the semi-finals instead. And we'll see who comes out on top this time. They often do trade, they often go back and forth. But here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the French Terran player, the red Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Go. So we're getting into our first match here in the semifinals. And I wouldn't be surprised if this even goes to the ace match. I mean, I say that herO can be a very chaotic player and very inconsistent at times as well. He has some big spikes, but also he does take a lot of chances. He takes a lot of risks. I think that's the best way of referring to herO, is that he is a very risky player, a very gambly player at times as well. That is why sometimes you see some bigger swings and why you sometimes see him say 4-2, 3-0 to Clem. But, you know, the next time they face off, he even wins the series against Clem as well. So we'll see what it goes for. I expect to see some shenanigans here, or something maybe a little bit less of the norm, less meta. For now, welcome to 10,000 feet. We do see that Clem is going to be opening up with a single gas geyser. Now, if you remember, we did speak on this map previously in the quarterfinals between herO and Cure, but this map is very small. Very, very small map. This is the shortest rush distance map in the entire map pool, so very short rush distance. Aggression is heavily favored here on 10,000 feet, and we saw that herO did an amazing job last time slowing Cure down. herO, he was going for Zealot Run By, Stalker Aggression, Prism drop in the main base all at the same time, keeping Cure busy, giving him time to build up his Colossus back at home, where he could make a defense. That was specifically against a 3cc build. We'll see if Clem also goes for a 3rd CC, or if he goes into a 1-1-1. We have the answer, Factory. Factory has been thrown down, so we have no hyper greedy build with a fast 3rd base. From here, we can still go into a faster 2nd Rax, which would be indicative of a 2-base all-in, which we cannot really put off the table here. So eyes are on Clem. As Clem, he did skip his Reaper. So Clem, he went for the SCV Scout, skip the Reaper, should be skipping Hellion production as well, and going straight into his follow-up. At the same time, we'll see how greedy herO plans on being. So far, going into a Twilight Council into Blink, and we'll see if he goes 2-gate, 3-gate, or 4-gate Blink Stalker, or even just 1-gate into a 3rd. As no add-on swap, he thought about it. He lives, he lands, is going into Reactored Bio into a 1-1-1. I'm just building him, which is 1-1-1. Meanwhile, herO he does throw down extra gateways, so he has 1 gateway back at home, 2 more gateways in production, 3-gate Blink in total. He may go for a Robo alongside this as well, or he might even just take a faster expansion. We'll keep an eye on herO to see how greedy his follow-up is, or how defensive it is. As 3-gate Blink is kind of the go-to as the standard, and you can see here that he is going to be delaying his Robo, and he is in fact going for the faster 3rd. If you recall, we saw the same build out of herO against Cure on this map. Blue Station moves out, that does confirm the opener. Here's where there's no drop play. So no medevacs, no drop play. herO now knows he has one less thing to worry about. So Clem's just building up his bio. That is something to be concerned by, is that Clem is from the very beginning here reacting out bio, reacting out Marines. Stim is now on the way. And it's going to be a very strong Stim timing just because of the sheer amount of bio units. herO is here to try to stem the tide and try to pick away at the bio army. Oh. Does not get a Marine though. Fails to snipe the Marine. Going into double forge, double upgrades, into a gateway composition. Here he saw the add-on swap. Once again, here he doesn't really find much damage here. He can maybe get the... Oh, he will lose a Stalker. Yeah, a bit of miscontrol. At the same time, he's distracted. 3 probes going to be going down. Nice Raven harass out of Clem. So far, Clem looking solid. Killing workers, defending back at home. And preserving his army, more importantly. As one Marine still doesn't go down. What the... Oh my god. Who needs medevacs back? Just keep your Marines alive. Just do it. True. As medevacs are finally on the way. Again, they've been heavily delayed. And it's been worth it. Like Clem, he was not punished. He was not punished. Finally, he will lose one. There we go. Marines finally getting picked off. Nice target firing at a hero. Sniping 3 Marines. Jeez, that probe just killed a Marine. Oh my god. Calm down, probe. Calm down. As Clem's just shocking around. No shot here is going for the linear 4th base. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here. This should be a safer expansion to take. Taking the center base against a very aggressive Terran player can be very difficult to maintain. But it's also quite far away. It's isolated. It's on its own, it's isolated. You can see Clem rotating over. He wants that base, and it looks like he will get it. Hero's out of position. There's a cancel. And Hero's in a rough position here because Clem's getting a 3rd. And Hero still has no 4th. Hero's economy is struggling. Nice blink though. He dives in, and he wants to focus on all these Marauders. He cannot take the fight though. Yeah, cannot take the fight. It's a rough trade. As the Marauders, they do take it. And Clem is just tearing Hero apart. Just tearing him apart. Does hit the 3rd. Here he's already behind. Now falling further behind as well, losing 7 probes. And this is critical damage. This is game-ending damage. 12 probe kills. Clem, he has a better economy. Hero forced to expand in the center of the map. It's going to be very difficult to defend. He was trying to avoid it. And Raven harassed back into the 3rd base. And Clem, he's snowballing out of control. Just snowballing out of control. He's getting out of hand. Remember, here he has no splash damage. He's purely reliant on the gateway composition. And he just doesn't have the economy. He just can't sustain this. Hero, I mean. I'm still stepping in. Hero does at least bait out 2 mine shots. But Clem can just keep going. He can just keep on pushing. Now just peeling off some units, going for a double drop. He's been trading well. Oh, as he does go for the robo. Looks like he will snipe. Yeah, nice catch on the robo. Only 1 immortal. As the drop rotates. And again, Hero is just being picked apart. A lot of this came down to the early game. A lot of it came down to Clem's opener. It came down to Hero being unable to defend his 4th base. It was just Hero being out of position. Right? He was just out of position. Here he failed to scout the rotation of Clem. And once that 4th base was denied, I mean, that was kind of game. That was I mean, to be fair, it was the 4th base being denied and also losing 12 probes, right? Like 12 probes went down here at the 3rd. 7 to 12. As another 12 workers full, 4th base is killed. Clem's reinforcements have arrived. He's got his ghosts, he's got his EMP, his massive EMP connects. He wants that immortal. He wants it. Can he get it? Can he get the immortal, Pappy? Not quite. He settles for 17 probes. 17 probe kills, shuts down most of the army. Oof. My shot is denied. That's better than my shot. And again, Clem is going to be the first to max out. Clem, he's now getting his 4th base up. herO just now starting his own 4th. It's halfway done. But again, typically the Protoss player wants to be upper base to be even, to be equivalent with the Terran. So again, Clem is looking very comfortable. Oh, the retargeting. The retargeting. As here he attempts a run by a last Clem is in position. Kites well. Shuts down all the zealots. herO coming in from behind. Can he get a ghost? Up. Up. Not quite. Settles for a marauder. herO just now going for a second robo. Now going for the bay. If you're curious as to why his splash damage has been so delayed, I mean, it's because of the economy. And also herO opting to go for initially a heavier gateway composition early on. Which didn't quite pan out. Now it's Clem, he's maxed. He's maxed out. He's going in for the kill. The force fields will slow down Clem. But they run out, Pappy. Yeah, the force fields run out. The immortal goes down. At the same time, herO, he does get across the map. These Dells, they do find some damage. But plenty of reinforcements. Plenty of reinforcements. The 4th base goes down for a 3rd time. And we're never going to see any Colossus, never going to see any splash damage. There's a recall back home. And now it's time to stim and to win. GG gets called as Clemmy overwhelmed, and Clemmy takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Once again, it was just a very rough start for herO. Winding it back, remember, what were the openers? At Clem, he went for a bit of a more, I would say, greedier start. If you remember, he skipped out on his Reapers, he skipped out on his Hellions. He was able to preserve his bio army and get into that stim timing early on. Meanwhile, what did herO go for? 3-gate blink. He went into 3-gate blink into a 3rd base, and he failed to get any damage done. I was shocked to see that with his 3-gate blink aggression, he didn't kill a single Marine. Like, he got no value out of the commitment into his blink stalkers, so it was a shaky start out of herO, followed by the moment when herO took his 4th base and he lost his 4th base. He lost his 4th base. It was denied. herO, he missed the medevacs, he missed the rotation, he missed Clem's army, and he was just out of position. He was out of position. Once he lost the 4th base, he never really was able to maintain the 4th. Just knocked down time and time again. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 2. Gonna be loading into Ruby Rock. Let's go. Here we go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing T1 down in the series. Can he bounce back and make a series out of this? It is herO. Hello. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the French Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. As he moves out with 1 and moves out with a 2nd SCV. Here we go. The Probe Scout does miss the SCVs as Clem is setting up for his proxy across the map. So we do have our proxy Raxes on the way. herO pokes in, and herO will confirm that the Rax is missing. So a nice Probe Scout here by herO. He does confirm that something is wrong. Now, bear this in mind that it is not uncommon for the Terran player to hide their racks behind their main, so you can see the probe does get behind the mineral line just in case. The probe has to check further back here in the main base, has to check here at the natural, has to check at the 3rd base. Again, it's not uncommon for the Terran player to fake a proxy and to actually have it on his own side of the map. So here we're just trying to confirm. You can see here, yep, he does check the corner of the main. As we mentioned, not uncommon to hide it. So here is looking. Oh, yeah, he wants that SCV. Oh my god. Does force the overreaction and does deny some mining time here, causing a bit of panic out of Clem. Not bad. So here just forcing some inefficiencies. Clem going for the proxy Reaper. No Tech Lab, no Marauder. And herO did make the... Oh, I thought I saw a Zealot on the way. Oh, never mind. herO just going for the gate into expand. Or gate cyber expand. True. There's that CC. And again, it was no big commitment here by Clem. This Reaper still might find some damage. We'll see if we can get a probe. So far, I would say the hero's had the better early game thanks to the denied mining time. Reaper moves in. Stalker's still in production. And does he get a probe? The answer is no. Yeah, it does not get a probe in the end. herO, he does defend. Does hold on. What is it? Oh, he even kills an SC. Oh my god. herO. This probe is winning herO this game. Like herO, he denied so much mining in the main base. He killed an SCV as well. The herO probe back. Oh my god. He's crazy. Calm down, herO. Calm down. If herO can bring it back in this series, it's thanks to that probe, by the way. It's because of that probe doing damage, he delayed the CC, he did damage to the other SCV as well, and because of that, the CC just cannot finish. This is all because of the probe, by the way. This is 100% because of the probe. Meanwhile, oh, Clem, he actually committed. It was Reaper into Tech Lab into Marauder, so delayed proxy Marauder. And herO, because it's hitting so late, hero's out of position. He's forced to recoil. He's forced to recoil back home. herO caught with his pants down. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, as the boys hit us around, getting the Reaper. Reaper is surrounded, and herO will defend. So here he will clean this up, but losing only 3 probes. This could have been so much worse. As Clem, he rallies into the army, losing another Marauder. Yeah, rough rally. And herO has had the better start, 100%. He's had the better start. CC just now finishing, so delayed expansion out of Clem. For 3 Marauders, he got a handful of probes. Again, that just wasn't worth it either. So he comes here. With these probes, he can bait at the mine shots. You can bait them out the bunker, still isn't done either. There's no units here to bait out the shots. Oh, sorry, there's a Marine. There we go, baits out both Widow Mines. Bunker does finish, thankfully. The controller tries to bait out the shot. GG gets caught. Yeah, we can just go into the main base. There's nothing at home to defend because the Rax was floating, and herO ties up the series 1-1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. I'm telling you, it was the probe. It was that one herO worker. The probe did so much. Denying mining, killing a worker, delaying the CC, delaying it even further because of that with the reinforcing Stalker. So a very, very rough early game there for Clem. Just being torn apart early on by the worker, by the follow-up Stalker as well. He did commit into a delayed Marauder harass, or delayed Marauder push, but herO had plenty to defend. He had 3 Stalkers and a Sentry as well, so the Marauders were not worth it. And because the Rax was floating, he had nothing to defend. He had 1 Marine. He had 1 Marine to defend. GG, well played. We're going to the ace match. We're going to the ace match, going to game 3. And we'll see how this story ends. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right, in the top right hand corner, we have the French Terran player, the red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Here we go. So we are going to be setting up. And again, welcome to White Rabbit. White Rabbit is a much larger map of the map pool, larger map, longer rush distance by ground. As we mentioned in the previous series, the bases here are very spread out, third and fourth expansions. So on the one hand, yes, the map is quite large, longer rush distance, but it can be awkward to defend, especially if you fail to keep eyes on the army movement and the army rotation. If you fail to see the rotation, it can be difficult to be in position in time, and you can be punished for it. As a result, we have seen players expand in the center of the map instead, going for the center expansion and going for the linear third base behind the center third instead. So we have seen players expand in that way, just to centralize their bases a little bit further. But we'll see how our players will adjust their approach. This time, no proxy. This time the Rax is back at home. Watching Clem is making me delulu. I feel like I could win a TVP, but I just don't. I mean, it could just be a mental block if you're struggling in the matchup. Could just be a mental block. It could also be, I mean, something that, especially because StarCraft is so old and has been around for a long time. I know that there are some people that are maybe a little bit stubborn when it comes to their style of play. Like, the meta does shift, the meta does change, and it's important to be fluid with the meta as well. If you're kind of stuck in your ways, and it can be sometimes a little bit difficult to keep up and to adapt with like current styles. I'm totally calling out Yako right now. Where he's had like the same build and the same opener for like the past 6 years. The Chinese opener. Which was only relevant for like a season as well. It was God damn it, Yako. It's all he knows, baby. It's all he knows. That's from back in 2019, I think. Back in 2019. From players like Oliveira, XY, Coffee. Yeah. God damn it, Yakra. As now, it is going to be a Twilight Council opener out of herO. Getting into Blink. Nope. Nice body blocking. Able to slip up that Stalker for a moment, and does he get the kill on the Stalker? Yeah, once again, you see the Hellion try to body block. Oh no! Trying to get in front. And it looks like that will be a kill. Nice snipe here on the initial Stalker. Hellion gets away. And as the Stalkers are distracted, Clem this time gets his natural. His natural is getting up and running, going to his own 1-1-1. This time a bit of a safer, oh sorry, I say safer start, more aggressive here, going into Cyclone and even going into the early Viking. Okay. Again, Vikings this early on, they actually do add a lot of DPS. They do trade well with gateway units. Speaking of, yep, and a Viking. Here does snipe one of the Marines. But the Viking is here. Back at home here, he does throw down an extra gateway, so 3-gate blink into a robo before the third base. So very safe play actually by herO. Okay, very safe, and he's going to be punished at all. Yeah, the Cyclone hunts down the Stalkers. Here he will lose map control. He'll lose all 3 Stalkers. And again, hero's going for a delayed third. So late third base. Faster robo this time into early Immortal as well on 2 bases. Oh my god. Okay. So much more committed 2-base play out of herO. Still no third. Now, I believe the rationale and the reasoning for this, I mean, you can even see the shield battery as well. If you see a Terran player going for an early Viking, it usually is for an early push and an early borderline 2-base all-in. Because why get a Viking this early on unless you intend to reinforce with every building you have to have as much DPS output as possible, instead of making medevacs to make Vikings to add as much DPS, right? So herO, this is, in my mind, a reaction to that. With a shield battery, with Immortals as well. Looks like herO, he was expecting an early push, but it never came. Clem's just chilling. Clem is taking up into Stim, getting his tanks, and now the onus is on herO to make use of this army. Remember, herO, he delayed his expansion in favor of the Immortal, in favor of all these warp-ins. He's going for the bunker. First tank is going to be targeted down. Ooh, does almost get an extra shot off. He does trade. Nice auto turret as well. And a Clem, he's going to be able to shut this down. I say that he's running out of Marines. Oh. That's getting close. Thankfully, there is still a Cyclone. And Clem does hold. Yeah, he holds. He shuts down the Stalkers. And herO is hoping for more here. He's hoping for more. Does spot the upgrades. But alas, there's a tank in position. herO cannot touch this. His Stalkers are so weak and they're so low from that earlier engagement. So yeah, I've got the same opener, but I always have got the same closure, my base being flattened. Oh no. It is a 3 CC interludes. Ah. We are familiar with this build. Smurge, papi, smurge. Ahí está. As he comes to move out. Now again, Clem, he's expanding. He's getting a 3rd CC behind this, building up his bio. Here comes the first push. And what do we have to defend here? So here, he did lose an Immortal earlier, so he's down to 1. Second Immortal's on the way. He's got a shield battery. He does have some energy, some force fields to work with. That is going to be a tough hold. Remember, Stim is done. With this amount of zealots here, herO should be okay. I'm applying pressure, pushing further in. Ooh, catching out one of the Stalkers. As he does force some friendly fire. But again, the tank is in position. More zealots are going to be going down. Wouldn't mind they also do burrow. Oof. And even though Clem doesn't break the 3rd base, what is he achieving with this push? Denying the 4th. Right, the 4th base is non-existent. Clem is now getting ahead economically. herO, he needs a 4th. Not just that, remember, hero's 3rd base is also late as well. So late 3rd, late 4th base, just late economy all around. As herO takes his 4th base on the top side instead, which happens to be where Clem is rotating. Oh no. No. Not like this. herO, he misses the rotation, and this 4th base is not going to finish. Yeah, it's not going to finish up. herO, he will stay on 3 bases. He will stay behind. As that's a kill, not a cancel. No, it's a kill on the 4th base, kill on the Colossus. Massive pickups. And this is getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of control. The Zealots, they do get 3 SCV kills. That is not good enough. And hero's being left behind. It's being left behind here. Bleeding out more high-tech units. And with that, Clem should be able to build up into another wave and once again knock down the 4th. It just becomes a game of Clem just denying the 4th base over and over again. At this point, I don't know if herO can ever take a 4th. The best that herO can hope for is double expand, right? You get your 4th and your 5th base and just rely on forcing one to be cancelled and getting your other up and running. But even then, even then, it's a lot of men with gun. Here he desperately needs his 4th. Clem once again rotating. And to be fair, this also goes into what we mentioned at the start of the game as well, how specifically on White Rabbits, the bases are more spread out, they're more open, and it is more difficult to keep up with rotations, which we saw here. So in this game, Observer does spot the army, herO is out of position. Oh, base trade? Okay, I mean, this is maybe the best chance, the best option. Clemmy does spot the army, he races, he turns around. Yeah, Clemmy turns around, he's turning back home. And racing back. And he does get here in time. He's got his Vikings. Here he does get on top of the ramp though. He gets up the ramp. Vikings are punishing though. But again, this was maybe best case scenario. Remember, Clem, he was about to push. He was about to, oh no! herO! He gets caught. He gets caught out. Colossus goes down. He's going to lose both. Yeah, both Colossus get caught. Massive pickoffs. Ay. Not like this. Not like this. Once again, herO not aware of the positioning here of Clem. Was hoping that Clem was just being more defensive. And herO got caught. He got caught with his pants down. Lost 2 Colossi. Clem breaks out. And once again here, he's hoping he can force the army back home. Right, Zealots are on the way. He needs Clem to turn around. Zealots are finding damage. Clem, he does turn around. F2's back home. Turns around. Some Marines are getting caught in the center. So nice Zealot run by. It's a good start. Yeah, it's a good start. Even here trying to force some friendly fire, but I'm not quite able to. hero's being very ambitious with those stalkers. And here he's slowly recovering. Remember, he forced the army back home, and now here is able to expand, double expand even, getting his 4th base on the right, getting his 5th base on the left. Slowly catching back up. Here it just has to be careful not to be too wasteful. Right? Just don't be too wasteful, don't lose any of your high-tech units. Poke in, pull away, don't commit to a fight. Because remember, Clem is maxed. Like Clem, he wants to fight. And here he has to avoid it. He has to avoid the main engage. Pulling back, rotating to the right-hand side. This time, though, there's a sensor tower. Vikings, oh no, they catch him out again. Yeah, Vikings, they catch him out again. Oh no. EMP lands, gets one of the Colossus. Once again, 1 Colossus remaining, and here he will lose everything. He'll lose everything here. Has to get the hell out of here. Losing 2 more Colossi. So they catch some SCVs. And the Colossus does manage to scuttle away. Get away, Pappy, get away. And Clem is just going to push. Yeah, he's just going to rally across the map at this point. Remember, for quite some time, Clem, he's been looking for this fight. He's been looking for the engage, as he has a massive overwhelming army. And from here, he can stim. And he can win. He has nothing to worry about. There's no Storm, no Disruptors, no Colossus. We have 1 Colossus coming in. But that's what the Vikings are for. That's going to be the final Colossus going down. Yo, we got some Novas, though. We got the Novas. Ah. I will say that here he did impress with the run by at least. I assumed that Clem was just going to be able to move out after he gained momentum and just end the game, but here he was able to hang in there. Able to have 8 moments, but here we go. From here we can just stim on in, breaks the 3rd base, getting on top of the Disruptors as well. We have 1 Nova going off, and it does somewhat connect. Better connection towards the end, but it's not good enough, Pappy. Not anymore. As Clem has broken herO, GG gets called, and Clem will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. Hey. GG, well played, Clem. He will claim the series. Again, we had a really rough start for herO as he was unable to keep up with the momentum, specifically keep up with the movements, with the army movements of Clem, where Clem was able to break out across the map, rotate and break down that 4th base. And once you can get that 4th base down, it's so difficult to get it back up and to recover economically and to catch back up as the Protoss. Here he attempted, and again, he had a really nice run by, really nice counterattack. He was able to buy some time to build up an army, but he got caught. He got caught in the center multiple times, losing his Colossus time and time again. GG, well played. With that, Clem will claim the series, and Clem is going to make it to the grand finals here to face off against his next opponent. Oh boy. As we do get ready for those finals, it is going to be a TVP between Clem and Trigger. Un momento. But really cool to see Trigger making it through into the finals here. Afterwards, I have to check out the bracket to see his road to the finals. Este Trigger. The Oast is paying off. True. Este Trigger. Meanwhile, I do apologize. It happened during the game, but a big shout out to Jonty in the chat. Jonty OCE. Thank you so much. God, thank you so much for subscribing for 13 months. Over a year of support. Thank you, Papi. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you enjoy the casting, the StarCraft. Yes, AK Noam Chomsky. Yes, yes. The casting, the StarCraft, and all the content here on the CranKy Ducklings. Thank you. Thank you. Also, thank you so much for the gifted sub as well. Gifted sub to Hestong. Hestong GG. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. As we're getting ready for those finals. Again, it's going to be a best of 5. Best of 5 finals here between Clem and Trigger. Game 1 is going to be on Ruby Rock. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the French Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss for Basilisk. It is Trigger. Hey. Again, not casting for those days has destroyed my throat muscles. What I mean by that, I can feel my voice dying a little bit. Gotta be careful. Be careful. There we go. Here we go. As we're getting into our TVP, and of course, welcome to the grand finals, the best of 5. Best of 5 here between Clem and Trigger. Clem making his way through Solar, making his way through herO to make it this far. Trigger in the semifinals took down Showtime in a PvP. I mean, Trigger, he has some intense PvP. We've seen him take down players like Classic and players like herO as well. But how does Trigger compare to Clem? I'll always remember his 6 series in WTL against Maru, where Trigger, it was on, oh god, I remember what the map looks like, but I cannot remember the name of the map. It was from like 3 years ago. But I remember Trigger going toe-to-toe with Maru back in the day, a couple of years ago in WTL. So that's always going to be fresh in my mind. He was popping off, and we'll see how he does perform here. Bearing in mind that Trigger, he has been back on the grind. He did spend some time traveling a couple of months ago, going to SC for All, going to the Ursasaurus event in Canada as well. Constellation Cup, that's it. Stellarfest, there we go. I was blanking on the name. But going to SC for All, going to Stellarfest as well. So Trigger, he has been traveling, he has been competing, he has been on that grind, and he has been improving as a result. Of course, Trigger nowadays is the best player from the Americas. Did this year overtake and surpass Estrella, where typically it was Estrella and Trigger as number 1 and number 2. Trigger being in Estrella's shadow for the past couple of years. But now this year in 2025 was able to excel, was able to exceed, and was able to surpass Estrella. So Trigger now the best player in the Americas. Oh. Trigger perks in, delays the bunker, not bad, even sniping one of the Marines. But it is going to be a one-way trip, and the Adept will go down. Behind this, we did have our initial economic opener. Rax expand into a delayed factory, getting to his own 111. Back at home, Trigger going for his own Twilight Council opener. Now, when it comes to Trigger's style, he is a little bit less aggressive and less intense as herO. Trigger, he often thrives in the mid-game and in longer macro games as well. Traditionally, that is the case, but I will also admit that I haven't been casting much of Trigger recently. I will say that, like, Trigger, he has been streaming a lot. True, he's been streaming a lot, he has been traveling a lot and competing abroad, but again, I haven't had the, I mean, he's not the most active of players, right? He's not like Clem or herO or Beyond or Classic. He's not playing in all the open cups, in Bigger Start Cup, in WardiTV Monday, in Sparkling Tuna Cup. Trigger, he's a little bit less, or he's a little bit more sporadic in what he signs up for. So I'm ready, I'm excited. I think I've been mainly featuring and mainly casting Trigger in PvP more than anything. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table here against Terran. Show us what you got. Oh, okay, as Clem, he does move out. Did open up 111 into his initial Widowmine drop, and behind this going to his own bio setup. Extra axes. We'll see if Trigger can keep up. See if he can keep up. Widowmine drop here into the main. Catching out 3 probes, no major connections. But the medevac does escape, even saving one of the Widow mines. Okay. Saves the mine, pulls out. Meanwhile, Trigger going for a faster third. I believe 2-gate? Yeah, 2-gate blink into a third, and not bad. So we have a greedier build here by Trigger. A little bit risky is what I will say. This build used to be all the craze at the beginning of the year, but in recent months has fallen out of favor, fallen out of meta. Now we can see Trigger bringing it back. It's a very greedy way of opening up, and it does put a little more pressure on the Terran player to be aggressive. Ooh. As Trigger, he does punish, getting 3 Marines. 3 Marines go down. Trigger pulling away. So when drop comes back in, Trigger does notice. Does notice in time. But Clemmy saves the mine. Still holding on to that shot. So finally is cleaned up. But again, this does at least distract Trigger, right? It brings back all the stalkers. They'll come back home. Third TC is on the way. Clem, he does spot the third base. It does see that it's already done. Is aware of the greed of Trigger. And again, the pressure is going to be on Clem. Trigger moves in. Nice denial. Nice delay. Delays the CC. Pulls back those stalkers. Trigger, he is yet to lose a single stalker, by the way. Very nice control. Not losing anything. Clem loads up for his double drop. Oh, will lose the Raven in the process. Nice snipe here by Trigger. Takes down the Raven, pulls away. He should be aware of the double drop. This Trigger here has to pull back. And he does pull back in time. There's a recall back home. Again, he was aware of the drop. And he shouldn't lose too much here. He'll lose the pylon, warping is denied, but he will snipe those medevacs, getting 1. And barely doesn't get the other, but nice cleanup. So better engaged here by Trigger. You can see him try to intercept. Getting ready to here at his third. And even as Clem gets his third base up and running, Trigger already has his fourth on the way. You can already see just how clean Trigger is here, at least macro-wise, compared to herO. Time and time again in herO series versus Clem, herO, he had a very hard time getting his fourth base up in time. Very often, he wouldn't even have his fourth by this moment, but Trigger, his is already on the way, and he applies pressure to protect it. Apply pressure, catching out the first tank. Oh no! Okay, I had to blink forward for it. Risky blink, but he does get the tank at the same time. Zelsay to hit the natural. Prism into the main base. Stalkers towards the third. And Clem being pulled apart here. We have a tri-pronged attack. Where's the warp in? There it is, warp in into the main. Keeping Clem busy. At the same time, Clem dropping mines here into the third base. 7 probes go down. Ooh, for up to 10 SCVs. We did have a back and forth. Sniping a Marauder. Losing up to 11 workers. So a slightly better trade here for Trigger, bearing in mind that his 4th base is now done. So making 4 probes at a time. Prism somehow survived, going for another warp in. Trigger pushing forward. Can they get the eBay? Oh no, unfortunately a miss rally here. Trigger miss rallies, losing an Immortal. Pretty big loss. But Clem having a hard time. His armor was left idle. 5 SCVs went down. Clem, he was distracted. And he'll lose another set of Marauders. Oh, good. Be careful with the rally, Pappy. Not again. Save the Colossus. There are so many Marauders. Yeah, Trigger here extends. Here extends. The Colossus should not have been here. A massive snipe. On the one hand, yes, Trigger was getting some economic damage, but these have been some hefty losses, losing both the Colossus and the Immortal earlier as well. Those are meant to be his power units. They're meant to be the backbone of his army. Not anymore. Now with that, Clem now can push. Now can look to break out. Trigger trying to reinforce, still applying more pressure. Back up to 1 Colossus. Oh, true, that is something that we have seen from Trigger as of late, is going for a more disruptor-heavy composition. I mean, in general, that's how the meta's been shifting. Into more disruptors. Trigger catching out a couple of Marauders, not bad. Okay, 3 Marauders. Getting another Marauder towards the end. Zelsay peel off into the mineral line, and Clem is being forced all the way back. He'll lose this mineral line. There's so many SCVs going down. That 1 Colossus going ham on the army. Again, no Sim City here, no bunkers, no depots, no nothing. And Trigger is doing it. Trigger, he has done it. He has broken Clem. Clem at the same time dropping across the map. But Trigger is going for the kill. Just going for the kill, going for the throats. Overwhelms Clem at the natural. GG gets called, and Trigger, he will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played again. Clem, he was doing a great job when it came to keeping up with Trigger's aggression and even punishing his aggression. But his setup at that 3rd base was, again, very exposed. We speak about Ruby Rock all the time. Smaller map, more open 3rd, more open 4th base, and Trigger, he just kept that pressure up, kept reinforcing, kept going, and eventually broke Clem. Eventually did break him. Whew. And GG, Trigger, he takes a lead in the series, does take a lead, and now we're heading into Taito Citadel for the first time tonight. This is one of the more often vetoed maps in the map pool. Honestly, it's a very awkward map as well, but it's a best of 5, so hey, we get to experience some of these otherwise vetoed maps. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Taito Citadel, we have the Red Terran player, the Red Terran, the French Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the Canadian Protoss player, we have the Teal Protoss for Basilisk. It is Trigger. Here we go. Very quickly touching on how Trigger was able to overwhelm Clem, something that we did mention, something that we did emphasize in the beginning was Trigger getting a better economy than Clem, even better than what herO was able to achieve in his series. I'm referring to the 4th base. Remember, Trigger, he went for a 2-gate blink into a very fast 3rd, into a very fast 4th base as well. And for the most part, his economy was left untouched. Yes, there was that moment where Clem was able to get a Widowmine drop off and get 7 probe kills, but Trigger killed 11 SCVs across the map at the same time. So that damage wasn't enough to really to really stifle the economy of Trigger the way that Clem was hoping for. So Trigger, he still maintained a better economy, and with that, that's why he was able to afford so many zealots. We just kept warping in wave after wave of zealots, whether it was in the main base of Clem or whether it was reinforcing Trigger's army, and eventually he did break and overwhelm Clem, thanks to how small the map was as well, to be able to reinforce that much faster. Was able to reinforce. Remember, he wasn't reinforcing his army with the Warp Prism, he was harassing with that. He would just warp in back at home and just walk up with those zealots and keep that pressure up. But here we go. Here we go. We're now loading into game number 2, and we'll see if Clem can bring it back. For the time being here, we do have the ranks expand, economic start out of Clem. Meanwhile, Trigger is scouting for proxies. Okay, hold up. No, my apologies. He's not scouting. Are we going proxy Stargate? Pylon is being thrown down. Cybercore is halfway done. Do we go for the Stargate? Now, proxy Stargate is really risky. It has a lot of potential to get some damage done, but if it gets scouted and if it fails to get any economic damage, then you will fall behind. This is a really big commitment into a tech structure, and yep, there it is, proxy Stargate. Remember, when you go for a proxy Stargate like this, you're delaying Blink. You're delaying your Twilight Council, you're delaying Blink, you're delaying your follow-up, you're delaying your gateway composition, like, upgrades. That's why it is a big risk. We'll see if it pays off. Oh, hello. Meanwhile, we do see that Clem is going for not a starport, a second Rax. So he's going for a 2-on-1, maybe even a 3-Rax setup as well. Hyper aggressive here by Clem. Clem is going to be delaying any kind of drop play, any Medivacs, any Raven harass, any Banshee harass, instead for a heavier and a stronger bio composition and earlier stim. So a heavy bio setup. Fixated on his army. Getting a safety Cyclone. Oracle's on the way. Clem, he will have the tools to defend. We'll see if he's in position. Yep, there it is, third Rax. Typically, when you see a third Rax like this before the starport, that's usually indicative of an all-in. Technically, you can still expand with this, but very often you just see like these massive timings where you just pull the boys and you commit. Here we go. Cyclone is already here at in the main. Fun fact, Clem didn't scout. Clem, he has no idea what's going on, but the Cyclone's in position, the Oracle goes in, and so far he gets 1 SCV. He gets 1 SCV. That is not good enough. Oh no! Oh, there's no spirit. There's no space. There's no space. There's no room. The recall is just in time. Saves the Oracle, but so far this has not been worth it. Rough start for Trigger. Here comes the second Oracle. Aye. Twilight Council just now beginning. 2 more gateways. Late third base. So late third base, late Twilight Council, late upgrades. And 0 damage with the Oracles. Now, the one silver lining here is that Trigger kept them both alive, right? He has 1 Oracle outside the main, he has 1 Oracle outside the natural. Thankfully, he still has them alive. He can still find some damage. Gets 1 more SCV. So that's 2 SCV kills so far. It's something. Oh. As we have a 3-gate blink setup. I don't know if you noticed there, as we do get another third SCV kill. I don't know if you noticed, but Trigger, he was actually researching charge. A canceled charge starts up blink. So a little bit indecisive here from Trigger as to where he wants to take us. As both Oracles do meet up. Oh, and Trigger, I mean, we already noted that he had a late third base. It's even more delayed. He's going for a Templar Archives. He's going to Storm before the third. This is 2 base all in. Yeah, it's straight up 2 base all in by Trigger. I like this. Considering how far behind Trigger is, this is his best chance. Like, this is his best opportunity here, is just go for the all in. Oh, does he go for the gold? Okay, Trigger, you have my attention. let's go, Bobby, let's go. Going for his 2 base setup. Yep, there it is. Gold is on the way. Here comes Storm. Now, can Trigger get away with this? Now, as you can imagine, if you're out there, don't try this at home. This is major gamba out of Trigger, like, because he's so far behind, right? Because this Oracle opener did so poorly, he has to take risks, he has to take chances, he has to gamble like this in the way that he is. The gamba is real. But I mean, what else are you gonna do, right? Like, Clem is moving out. Storm should finish up in time. Now the goal here is for Trigger to survive the push, to reveal his Storm, and to hopefully make Clem believe that there's no third base. And then Trigger can just macro from there. First things first, survive the push. Army gets spotted. There are 3 High Templar, 3 Storms. High Templar revealed. Clem is aware of the Storm. He pulls away. Yeah, I mean, this makes sense. Clem believes it's a 2-base all-in. So Clem, he backs off. It's all about defending. But he does peel for Marine. He has the wherewithal to check, and he will confirm the gold. Clem knows. Yeah, Clem knows, now he realizes, hold up, that's not a 2-base all-in, baby. Trigger knows that Clem knows. Clem, his army is split up. Fighting with Harvest Forces and Massive Storm. Gets a medevac. Gets 1, gets 2. Oh my god. Takes out both medevacs. We do have 2 more Storms available, at least 2. So far, better catch from Trigger. At the same time, we do have a drop on the right-hand side. Trigger, he has a handful of Stalkers. He's going to be reliant on these stasis traps. Nice setup here by Trigger. Observer spots the army. Revelation. And so far Trigger, he's able to, I mean, he's reaping the rewards here. He's mining from that gold. Trigger's in this. He's in this game. Same time, Clem, he's already on 3 bases himself, taking up into Ghost. I would say that Clem's main army, though, is being perfected as we speak. Getting into Ghost production. But similarly to last game, Trigger is going to have a massive influx of minerals for Mass Zealots, right? To strictly just overwhelm. It's going to be a very cheap army. It's going to be a very low-tech army. But the goal is to just kill Clem, to catch him with his pants down, to break this position. We'll see if he can. Mine gets called out. Clem is being active. Uh-oh. Does find Trigger. Trigger, he was on a move there. He will lose an Immortal. Massive pickup. Decent Storm with the EMPs. Takes out the Prism. There's a High Templar inside. So better trade for Clem. Trigger down to 4 High Templar. No War Prism. And Trigger, he wanted Clem to move out. Ideally, he wanted Clem to move out, but Clem, he just backs off, turtles up, and getting a 4th CC. So Clem just getting further ahead, just slowly building up into a later game. Trigger, he's late to tech up in that way. He's working towards Colossus, towards Disruptors. Space in production. And we're still in a very tense game state here. Like, again, this army that Trigger's working with, it's very fragile. It's very much so a glass cannon, where he's got a bunch of storms, but hey, if the EMPs land, the storms will not matter. He wouldn't have any. Clem does slip by. Simming into the natural. Catching out the robo. Depowers and we'll get a kill. Ooh, Trigger turns everything back around again. Trigger completely out of position. The pants are down, pappy. The pants are down. as everything gets depowered, even going for the kill on the Nexus. Won't quite kill the base, but as Trigger's distracted, here comes the main push. Here comes the main army towards the gold. Trigger, he has a couple of storms. Nice EMP, denies the first storm. EMP lands, we have more flanking High Templar. Nexus goes down. And Clem should take this. Oh, nice storm though. the storm is nice, but doesn't matter. It's not good enough. And again, it is impressive that Trigger was able to make a game out of this, but he still wasn't quite able to recover. As we mentioned before, like, he was hoping for Clem to maybe be overly aggressive or have a late realization as to what was happening. But Clem scattered pretty early. He was able to confirm the base early enough. Storms are coming in. Oh, Prism goes down. There were 2 Templar inside. EMPs a land and no more storms. Snipes clean up the High Templar. Trigger trying to amass an army. He's trying, Pappy. His scan confirms there's still no goal base. Wasn't retaken. Clem is maxed out. And now we have our final engage here. There's going to be a couple of storms left over. I believe he has 2. There's a first. Not a bad storm. We have attempted flanking at Templar. EMPs a land once again. Oof. Catching another Templar. And again, Clem can afford these trades. Clem is he's up to 5 bases. Getting a 5th base up and running, maintaining a greater economy. He can afford even more inefficient trades to catch out another Colossus. GG gets called, and Clemmy ties up the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a very, very rough early game there for Trigger. Winding it back, remember, it all began with Trigger failing to get damage done with the proxy Stargate. Remember, he went for the proxy Stargate. It was a big gamble, a big risk. He set everything behind. He had a late 3rd base, a late Twilight Council, late everything for that Stargate, and he killed 2 SCVs. He killed 2 SCVs with those oracles, so it was a really rough position there for Trigger. If you remember, Trigger's way of recovering was to play 2-base Storm into the gold. He tried to fake it. He tried to fake a 2-base all-in while he was sneaking out the gold base. Unfortunately, as we mentioned, Clem scouted. Clem, he was able to scout, he was able to confirm the gold base, and was able to eventually punish that gold expansion. It was a really risky maneuver by Trigger, but he had to take a risk after the rough opener, after the proxy Stargate failed to get damage done. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 3. We're tied up 1-1, and we'll see who takes a lead in the series, who gains momentum. As they're loading into 10,000 feet. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the French Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Liquid, tying up the series 1-1 and looking to take that lead. It is Clem. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. It is a Trigger. Este mousy, papi. Yeah, papi, yeah. Good morning, buenos dias. Good to see you, papi. Good to see you. I would have panicked seeing the full mining gold. Yeah, Clemmy, he was able to keep a cool, calm, and collected head. He didn't necessarily like rush to the goal base or anything like that. He was able to maneuver, able to outposition, able to pull Trigger apart. As Trigger will spread thin. He'll spread thin, trying to defend his own bases, his gold as well. GG, back. GG. Go. Buenos dias, Ninja Turtle. Buenos dias. So now welcome to 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet, of course, is a much smaller map of the map pool. The smallest map, or I should say the shortest rush distance map in the map pool. So aggression is heavily favored here, especially depending on how our players do expand, whether we expand towards or away from each other. We often do see a bigger commitment into gateways or just more aggressive builds all around from both Terran and Protoss players alike. Once again, Clem going for an economic start. Every game in this series, he has gone for a Rax expand. We have not seen a double gas opener yet out of Clem. Not yet. As Clem sets up back at home, Trigger of course did probe scout, did confirm, bearing in mind that Clem did proxy herO in the last series in the semifinals, so Trigger is being vigilant, just ensuring that there are no shenanigans, as Clem has shown he's willing to do so. Has shown. So now players are going to be settling in. Is going to be a take of choice going for the Twilight Council. This time there's no crazy proxy. Clem even scattered just in case. Did check for the Stargate. Oh, as Clem, he's going full Korean here. I say Korean. Players like Byun, players like Maru, and I mean top tier Terrans in general here have been known to do this. No SCV scout, no SCV scout, no Reaper scout either. So zero vision, zero scouting information. Clem is just building up a heavy bio composition. This is greedy, this is risky, just because Clem has no idea, right? There could be a Stargate, there could be a Twilight Council, there could be a greedier build coming his way. Like, he's not really aware of what Trigger's up to. Just building up his heavy bio army back at home. Does at least invest into the Hellion, so he will get some scouting information. Moving out with the Hellion, wants to get eyes on any additional gateways, third base timings. Oh, looks like there was a little bit of latency between the players. Bearing in mind this is a replay cast, of course. Hopefully it doesn't impact the game itself. As Trigger, he's opening up 2-gate blink into a third. Okay, once again going for a greedy build. I say once again, Trigger, he went for this build and went for this opener. Oh, my apologies. Yeah, went for this opener in game 1. So 2-gate blink into his third. We saw this in game 1 on Ruby Rock, where Trigger was able to overwhelm with a greater economy. But here comes the early push. Remember, we have this many Marines, and this is not normal, but we have this many due to the opener of Clem, due to the lack of Reaper and the early reactor. The early reactor Marine. So Clem trying to hope to catch out a Stalker. Here comes the first tank. Sorry, the first Cyclone. Clem does boost in. Does rush forward. Oh, ooh, the Medevac is going to be focused down, but the Stalkers get punished, losing one. Yeah, losing one Stalker so far, catching another. Nice blink out of Trigger. He does pull away. As the army gets into the middle line, catching another Stalker. That's 2 Stalkers going down. But it looks like Trigger, he may just barely have enough here. The Stalkers are so low. Gets the Cyclone. Yeah, gets the Cyclone. Trigger defends. Trigger, he does defend. And this could have gotten so much more damage done. Thankfully, the boys are pulled away. Oh, ooh, losing 4. 4 probes go down, but Trigger, he does hold on. Snipes the Medevac, the Cyclone, the Bio Army. In the end, it was 11 Marines. 11 Marines going down for 2 Stalkers and for 5 probes. Whew. Aye. But again, that could have been so much worse. That could have been game-ending damage here at the natural. Trigger, he does survive. Now, bearing in mind that Trigger, he did lose 5 probes, but remember, he could afford to do so because Trigger went for a greedy build. He went for the early third. So he went for a much earlier third base. This build was meant to give a Trigger an economic lead, and he does have a decent economy, but it should have been a little bit greater here. So Clem has done enough damage here to more or less even things up, as the pressure was on Clem to deal some economic damage. so able to even some things up. Clem from here getting his own 3rd TC. Trigger should soon be getting a 4th base. Now, the momentum that Trigger had in game 1 shouldn't be here in game 3 because of all that economic damage, right? Trigger, he has to rebuild those workers. His 4th base is going to be later as a result. More probes going to be going down. Nice harass here out of Clem. Getting 2 more probes, 9 more mining. Keeping Trigger in check. He broke up the 2v2 team. True. Like, Trigger and Clem, they are some of the best 2v2 players in the world, if not the best 2v2 sorry, if not the 2nd best 2v2 team in the world. I'd say the best 2v2 team is still Max, Pax, and Spirit, for sure. But Trigger and Clem, they're top 2. Top 2, bad. As Trigger is going to attempt to apply pressure to the 3rd base. Wants to delay overnight mining. Observer got spotted. Trigger dropping into the main. And there's nothing quite in position. Oh, as Clemmy does find his opponent, he does find Trigger. The first tank is going to go down, and Clemmy gets caught off guard. They're losing 1, losing 2, losing all 3 tanks. Ay, this should not have happened. All 3 tanks go down. Nice engage by Trigger. He does reinforce. He can just keep pushing. Yeah, he can't just keep pushing now. There's 0 tanks to defend. The boys are being pulled. Clem caught with his pants down. Not like this. Oh, losing too many SCVs, but we can just keep warping in. Just keep warping in, keep reinforcing. Again, losing all 3 tanks here was brutal for Clem. Base out the mine shots. Losing only 1 zealot. And Clem getting desperate, dropping behind the army. Meanwhile, Trigger, he does push into the natural. Colossus is about to rally in. And Clem, he has been broken. The Colossus does waste some DPS here on the building. And may even lose the Colossus, but GG gets called. There's just too many losses. And Trigger, he does take a lead in the series. 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, Clem, he got caught with his pants down as he moved out down the ramp. The army was waiting for him and he lost all 3 tanks. Losing 3 tanks immediately was a brutal start to the fight. That was meant to be the backbone of Clem's army. To lose it in the beginning meant that he had nothing to keep up, nothing to defend the ramp, to defend his 3rd base. To defend his 3rd base, to defend his natural either. GG, well played. One small slip up can cost you the game. And with that, Trigger, he is 1 game away from claiming the series. Let's go. Let us go as we are loading into game number 4 here. Trigger Winamass is all he needs. Clem has to win this game to force the ace match as we load into Mothership for the first time tonight. Loading into Mothership. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Mothership, we have the French Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Liquid. Again, down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom side of Mothership, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. Here we go. And again, a very intense game number 3 there. We did have Trigger going for a more economic start. We had Clem doing some economic damage. That is true, but remember that more or less kind of evened things out between the 2 players just because Trigger was being greedy. He was somewhat punished for that greed. Things kind of evened out. Trigger then did push, and Clem was caught mid-move out. He was caught unsieged. GG. GG, well played. So he was caught out. But now we're loading into Mothership. Mothership being a 3-player spawn map. You can spawn in top right, top left, and bottom side of the map. And we can see Trigger, he does gamble a little bit, does roll the dice, and he will find Clem immediately. Meanwhile, for the first time this series, double gas. Double gas opener out of Clem. Bold move, going for a much more tech-heavy start, going for a delayed CC, and Trigger, he will confirm. He scouts at least 1. I should be aware of both. But again, double gas opener, faster factory, delayed CC. This is something that we have not seen from Clem at all, not yet in this series, and this is a way to get into a more tech-heavy start. Faster starport, potentially into committed Banshee play, into earlier Cyclones. We'll keep an eye on Clem. Trigger once again poking in. There's that factory in production. And Clem should be expanding from here. Technically, one base all-ins are possible, but I don't know if Clem is really one to embrace that. We've seen one base all-ins in TVP from players like Oliveira in the past, from players like Maru, from players like even Ryung, true, yeah, even in recent times. Clem doesn't strike me as that kind of player, especially on Mothership though, and there it is, CC on the low ground. True, he's still looking as well. True. Clem searching for trigger. Is now aware. So we're at the spawn location. Behind this, getting into his own 111 as we did mention. Again, faster starports. And Trigger needs to scout the follow-up. He needs to see the add-ons. The add-ons, the tech labs. He needs to realize what he needs to recognize, whether he needs to get ready for Banshee play or not. Whether there's a mine drop coming his way. Reactor Reaper Hellion. Now just the one. Then poking in. Trigger so far going up to 2 gates. My apologies. Trigger going for a late Twilight Council. That's a little bit odd. Trigger going for a Robo opener instead. Robo before Twilight Council. This is very safe. Very, very safe. This means that he has early Immortal production if he needed them. Early Observer as well, so very defensive opener here by Trigger. Maybe a little bit scared seeing the double gas. We can confirm, of course, it is going to be Cloak Banshee. Trigger still has to. Yeah, you can see early Immortal production. Mortals are amassing. The station goes in, confirms that Cloak is being researched. Now, the problem with this build from Trigger is that if there is no all-in, he even has a safety shield battery. Like, if he has nothing to defend against, then he's just going to fall behind. As his tech is late, and his third base is also going to be late as well. See how the builds shape up. See, Trigger's claiming his third. And Clemmy's still building up back at home. His first Banshee is out. Trigger is going for a faster Colossus production. Again, this feels like a very messy opener out of Trigger. Say messy, it's like a very safe opener. Station goes in, confirms stim. eBay's on the way telling us that Clem is going for a later timing with +1. And thankfully there are 2 observers. Remember Trigger, he scouted the tech earlier. Despite that the Banshees, they find a sentry. Gets 1. Sentry goes down. Nice start here for Clem. Okay, Clem is expanding. Third CC is on the way. The pressure is very much so on Trigger to actually make use of these units. But again, it feels like a bit of a misread out of Trigger. Respecting Clem a little bit too much. Nice damage, getting 2 probes. Clem, he finds 2 workers. Behind this, getting into stim, +1. Building up his bio. Going for a later push. And I would say that Trigger kind of set himself behind here. Just delaying his third base, delaying his Twilight Council, investing into the earlier Immortals. Doesn't feel like it was quite worth it. Oh, as Trigger's distracted, losing 2. Yeah, 2 soldiers go down, distracted by the Banshees. These Banshees, they get 8 probes across the map. Nice damage here by Clem. Was Trigger, he even invested into cannons. Ay, ay, ay. Ah, that's rough. Essentially, Trigger, he didn't just lose 10 probes, he also invested into 2 cannons as well, which was meant to stop this from happening. So rough mid-game out of Trigger. Third base is not being taken. Clem taking an economic lead. At this point, Trigger, he needs a 4th base or he has to go here and now, and he's pushing. Trigger is going to go for it. Charge is done. The Clem is set up. He's got 3 Widow Mines, 2 tanks. His army's ready at the 3rd base. And Trigger, he cannot move in. Trigger looking for another opening. Rotating to the center. Observer gets caught. And Clem will hold. Yeah, Clem, he holds. Trigger, he's just expanding, getting a 4th base. Trigger, he has no intention of pushing anymore. He's missed his window, he's missed his timing. If there even was one. But again, Trigger, he still has to find something. Gets a Marine. Let's go. Gets a Marine. Pulls away. And this is when things start to get scary. It means that Clem, he has a greater economy. He can start working towards a 4th CC. His 4th base is already halfway done. And Clem can look to build up, turtle up, and be the first to max out. To max out with a heavy Bio Ghost Liberator composition. That is kind of like the end game here for Terran in TVP. Typically, the Protoss player should have a greater economy and should be able to contain the Terran on 3 bases for a little bit longer, but that isn't the case in this game. Due to the early game. Players are building up. Now there are going to be opportunities for a Trigger to maybe catch Clem out of position and try to outposition him and hit the 4th base and counterattack. The bases are very spread out here on Mothership, true. That's what the sensor towers are for. Towers are being thrown down and Clem is situated here in the center of his bases. Observer is aware of this. And again, Clem is almost max. It's going to be a very passive mid-game, again, just because of how the builds have panned out. It's going to be very passive until Clem can max. Even then, Clem, he may max out, he may just stay at home until he can build up and get into ranged Liberators. It's not uncommon to see that out of Terran players in the current meta. Just max out to stay at home until they get those libs. But we'll see. Trigger's moving in. Again, the pressure's on Trigger to do something about these 4 bases. How many High Templar? 5. Okay, 5 Templar, at least 5 Storms. Trigger moves in, gets spotted by the Zelnaga Tower. Oh, sorry, by the Center Tower. Storm's coming in. Let me spots. First storm lands, not bad. Storms 8 graze the army, but we need more than that. Another storm comes in, zones away. Better storms. The Colossus, they can't get within range though. He's going for the planetary, going for the mineral line. Vikings move in. He gets one. Yeah, gets one. Gonna get two. Gonna get all three Colossus. Yeah, brutal concave here from Clem. Clem, he may lose the Nexus. He may lose the planetary, but he will get the fight. He'll win the fight. He sims in. He collapses down everything. And Trigger, he has nothing left. He will lose the Colossus, the Immortals. He's down to 4 Stalkers. And sure, he killed the base. He killed the planetary. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. He lost everything in the process. We have Clem still with a maxed out army. That was a brutal fight for Trigger. Ay, ay, ay. It was brutal, Pappy. This is all that's left. Ah, no. He's warping in back at home, and yeah, again, just a brutal engage there. I don't blame Trigger. Trigger, he was in a rough position. Like, he had to do something, but before Clem's army is perfected even further. But Clem was in position. He had his concave. He was ready, Pat. He was ready. Now, I would say that Clem should not push, but if you remember, I just said something earlier as they were setting up. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Clem just turtles until he maxes, and then turtles further until he gets Liberators. And you can see it here, Fusion Core. Fusion Core is on the way. Clem, he moves out with a drop. Clem is not pushing, he's staying at home. Clem, he's up in supply. He was up like, what, 40, 50 supply a moment ago? He could have pushed, he could have tried to kill, but just because of the way that the warp-in mechanic works, because of the way that storms can hit, and because of reinforcements with warp-ins, like, a lot of Terran players are adverse to pushing even after winning a fight, and they just chill, they just turtle, they just wait for libs. And here we go, the Fusion Core is now done, we can get into range. And Clem is just going to stay home. He's just going to stay turtling up back at home. Now, this is going to give Trigger the opportunity to max out, to remax, and to do it all over again. True. He does have the option, the opportunity to do so, but remember, Clem's army is still getting better over time. He's getting 3 upgrades, plus 2 ship weapons. Fusion Core is done. We should soon be seeing advanced ballistics. Oh, actually getting the medevac upgrade first. Okay, okay. What's it called? What's it? Oh, EPs are landing. Do you have a storm though? Storm sent away. It does center zone at the same time. Trigger going for the run by, going for the storm as well, but the last doesn't break through. Clem is holding. Optic flare. Kappa. The other one. Caduceus reactor. There you go. Caduceus, I guess. Sure. Medevac upgrade. And nice snipes. Oof. Storm does punish at the bottom of the ramp. Reinforces, they go for the planetary. But there's not really much here. And Clemmy rotates in time. He rotates over. Catching at the Templar. Catching at the Archon. So ideally, Trigger wants to collapse in from multiple angles. We just can't find it. Oh, they're the prisms! He had to. Both prisms go down. And Clem holds. Clem is holding. Here comes the first Liberator. The freedom is coming, Pat. It's coming. No. No detection either. No detection. Ghosts, they just walk in. They just take down the High Templar. Not like this. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, a bit of a rough on Cloak. But now he can just stim in. Or can he? Jesus. Zelsay trade well. Zelsay punished the Vikings. Not a bad fight here by Trigger, but he will still lose it. As the Prism gets caught out, every Immortal as well. Once again, the army gets completely reset for the second time. Now Clem will just back up and remax. But this time with Liberators. At this time, there's advanced ballistics, making 3 liberators at a time. Again, Clem is perfecting his army. Trigger at the same time is mass expanding as well. Strange that Clem did not attack. Trigger has 20 army supply. If you heard, I did actually reference that. I mentioned that it's very common for Terran players in this position to win a fight to be up 50, 60, 70 supply, but not necessarily push, just because of the threats of being punished for that, which is very real. It's not uncommon for a player to overextend. It's just a very secure way to play. Technically it's the correct way to play, because now we have this, right? Now we have liberators being incorporated. Now we have more ghosts. It happens quite often. From players like Clem, Beyond, Cure. Yeah, Massey, Jesus, Massey and P on the army. The liberation has arrived. Colossus trying to kite back. They kite well, true. Colossus, they kite well for themselves, but they're still going to be targeted down. They're losing every single Colossus. All 4 Colossus fall. GG gets called, and Clem, he breaks out, he overwhelms, and we are going to the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We're going all the way to game 5. Again, just a very, very rough start there from a Trigger, as he was unable to really gain the momentum he was hoping for. I say that it all came down to the openers. If you remember, Trigger, he misread the build of Clem. Trigger, he went for a Robo opener. He went for a Robo before Twilight Council into a very late third base. So Trigger, he was playing from behind. There was a lot of pressure on Trigger to make something happen. If you remember, Trigger, he got an early shield battery. He made an early immortal as well. He got into an early bay. I think it was even a bay before the third base. I called it very messy. It was just a very, very, very defensive opener out of Trigger, which set himself behind, right? Trigger, he kind of set himself behind, made his own economy worse as a result, and he was just playing catch up. There was a lot of pressure on Trigger, failed to get damage done across the map, and Clem was able to cruise into the mid game. GG. GG, well played. Whew. With that, we're going to be getting into the ace match. It all comes down to game number 5. Going to be loading into Winter Madness. Oh boy. Is another one of these larger maps. 2-player spawn map, but larger map nonetheless. Has more defendable natural and third bases. Even a more defendable 4th base as well. We'll get into it. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the the French Terran player. The French Terran, the Red Terran, representing Team Liquid, forcing the ace match, bringing us all the way to game 5. It is Clem. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Teal Protoss player, the Canadian Protoss representing Basilisk. It is a Trigger. Here we go. Because we are getting into the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on Winter Madness. Again, Winter Madness being one of the larger maps in the map pool, being more defensive as well. There's a more narrow ramp coming in between the bases. We also have a more narrow entrance here at the 3rd location as well. So we do often see players successfully build up into a 4-base economy. We'll see if Clem can get there. I do feel like there's a lot more pressure on Trigger to try to stop that from happening, to be more active in the mid game. But we'll see. We have seen a lot of success out of Trigger whenever he does go for these more economic builds, referring to these 2-gate blink openers that Trigger has been able to get away with. Can he do it again? Can he do it again? We saw it on 10,000 feet. We saw it in game 1. See if he can get there. Meanwhile, Clem this time going back to basics, back to what he does best, Rax Expand. A single gas opener last game, remember it was double gas. If you recall, that is one of the reasons why Trigger did overreact, because it was a double gas opener, more tech heavy start, and Trigger was terrified of it. Oh. And again, Trigger's reaction hurt him more than anything. But now we're building up into the ace match. CC has been thrown down. And we'll see how many gateways Trigger throws down. That's my big question. I would hope to see more 2-gate blink, but we'll see if it goes into 3 or even 4 gateways. We'll see if he does mix it up. As Clem moves out, does check for a proxy. Bearing in mind that the trigger did proxy Stargate earlier in the series. So Clem just checking. Checks the standard proxy locations. And it is going to be a Twilight Council back at home. So Twilight Council opener out of trigger. Does pull away. So far, I believe getting up to 2 gates. Just the one. There we go. So 2 gate blink, Robo's on the way as well into what should be a faster third. The pressure is going to be on Clem instead to try to punish. Oh, never mind. Okay, trigger, okay. I was just assuming 2 gate blink. It's 2 gateways into a dark shrine. Okay. Going for the Invisible Man. Now, we bring this up from every now and then whenever we do see this, of course, but this can straight up end the game. We have seen players like Cure, Clem, Byun, insta GG if they mule at the wrong time and if this goes unscouted. So this has a lot of potential. It's a big risk, it's a big gamble. Of course, Blink and all the other tech upgrades are going to be delayed in favor of this. We have a 3rd gateway as well. This is going to be very committed, and we'll see if Clem can recognize what's going on. Oh boy. As Reaper Hellion does try to break in, zoned away. Reaper Hellion is going to be zoned back. You can see Trigger protecting the Reaper Cliff, ensuring that the Reaper doesn't get in. Clem going for his medevac drop. This should scout the Dark Shrine. True. Drop is headed for the natural. Prism moves out. Stalkers are busy. Prism does spot the medevac at least. Uh-oh. And the medevac is going to be denied. And medevac is deflected for the time being. DTs are warping in. Defensive Raven back at home. This won't end the game. At least it shouldn't. Clem is holding onto scans. And he scouts. So what's going on? Oh! Catching out 3 probes at the same time. DT into the natural, getting 4 SCVs. Likewise, DT into the main base as well. Does find some extra SCV kills. Getting up to 6, not bad. 7 SCVs. 7 SCV kills. Prism pulls back, keeping Clem busy. Also keeping the Raven busy back at home as well. Some decent aggression. It's okay. I mean, bearing in mind that Trigger delayed his expansion for this. He delayed his base, he delayed Blink. At least he got some damage. Oh. Catching out the Hellion Reaper. Or at least the Hellion. Oh, do we? Okay, I was going to say, do we morph in the Archon? We're still going for more DT harass, actually. Thankfully, the Raven is still at home. Trigger threatening the main base. Dropping into the mineral line, forcing friendly fire. Getting up to 4. Getting on top of the tank as well. Yeah, Clem a little bit late to react, and he will lose the tank. Massive pick off. Tank goes down. The Prism should be targeted. We try to save the DTs. And it's getting out of hand. 5 SCV kills and the tank. Not bad. The Archon did not manage to escape. Archon to get sniped. Well, some cheeky moves out of Trigger. Very cheeky. Cheeky moves, papi. As Clemmy moves out. Clem moves out across the map. We have Trigger staying on a lower gas count. Only 1 gas geyser here at the natural, going into charge, going for a very heavy gateway composition. Stalkers, they blink in once again. Remember, there's no tank. Remember, tank production has ended, so without those tanks, these Stalkers can be more aggressive. As the troll moves out, we have a couple of zealots in position. Oh, they are going to be slow bots. And Clem threatens the mineral line. Trigger, he races back home to defend. In the process, Clem moves out. Through the center, unscouted. And no observers in position. Trigger, he attempts to get into the natural. Losing 4 more workers, and Clem, he just goes right down mid. Yeah, straight down mid, straight for the robo. The robo is going to be targeted. Oof. Forcing friendly fire, not bad. Okay. Oh my god. The winner lines did a little more damage than the zealots. Trigger, he holds. Trigger, he holds on, shuts down one of the medevacs. Nice defense out of Trigger. That was a little supply. He feels Widowmine, man. Oh my god. This Trigger, he has momentum. The War Prism is threatening the main. Trigger moving out to deny the third. Or just to break the natural. It's out 2 mine shots, it's 2 left. No major connections here, and the Prism does reinforce. He's going to keep pushing. And behind this, 0 winner mines, 0 tanks, just a bunker and a handful of bio units. Trigger, he can just go for the kill. He can go for the kill, go for the throat. Clem, he lost too much across the map. Oh, Trigger, he's tempted. Oh no! Yeah, tempted, doesn't quite commit. We have 1 DT getting free damage. Let's go. Forcing out the scan. But now they're reinforcing Widow Mines. Clem holds. Clem is barely holding on here. Denying mining though. Had to pull the boys. Trigger just takes the 4th. Takes the 4th base. No detection. No Raven. DT. More free damage. The Invisible Man. It's pretty good. Oof. As the Raven is across the map. Yeah, the Raven's across the map doing some counter damage. Finally, we get a scan. As we get more DTs coming into the mineral line. Okay, not as much this time, thankfully. Only 5 SCVs. But what's important here is that Clem is still on 2 bases, right? Clem, he's still on 2 expansions. He has a 3rd CC, but he needs to land it. Likewise, he cannot mule, or he's been denied mules. So warping completes, coming from behind, catching out the Widow Mines, getting 1, 2, 3, 4 Widow Mines. Oh my god! Widow Mines getting caught out, and you can see Clem just being overwhelmed. He's being overrun. Trigger is going for the kill. GG gets called, and Trigger, he will take the series 3-2, taking down Clem and becoming the WardiTV number 68 champion. GG. GG, well played. It was a risky maneuver to go for a DT opener. It's quite rare. You don't often see it in this matchup, and not as often as we used to back in the day. So very, very risky choice here by Trigger, but it did pay for itself. Initially didn't get too much damage, but eventually did pay off. Being able to incorporate them in the main army, able to harass as well, able to keep Clem busy, keep him contained on 2 bases. Likewise though, a lot of it did also come down to Clem's move out, his attempted counterattack. Remember, Clem, he sent 2.5 full medevacs across the map through the center. That was the moment where he killed the robo. That was also the moment where he sustained a lot of splash damage, a lot of friendly fire. He lost his full medevac, he lost another medevac as well. He lost a lot of momentum, he lost map control, and then Trigger snowballed from there, just ensuring that Clem could not expand. He couldn't expand, couldn't get a 3rd base. GG. GG, well played. Very intense back and forth here, and congratulations to Ft Trigger, for knocking down Clem. And again, this is a Clem that's in form. Clem, he took down herO in the semifinals, took down Solar in the quarterfinals. Like, Clem, he had some big wins here in this tournament, but it was Trigger of all players to knock him down. Bearing in mind, of course, Trigger and Clem are good friends. They're 2v2 partners. They did live together in Korea for some time as well. So they're both good friends. They both know each other. They're both practice partners. And Trigger, he pops off here in the WardiTV Monday, taking down Clem. I believe winning WardiTV Monday for the first time, actually. Congratulations. Ft Trigger. GG, well played, and hopefully this bodes, or this is a sign of things to come. I did mention earlier that Trigger, he is currently informed due to all the traveling he's been doing, going to Stellarfest in Canada, going to SC for All in the Americas. I could be mistaken, but I think Trigger is even confirmed for Home Story Cup. So Trigger has been competing in a lot of events as of late, has been practicing a lot, has been streaming a lot as well. For the first time in a while, you tune into Trigger's stream and he's not playing Osu. It's crazy. It's and hey, now he's winning tournaments. Is there a correlation here that we're stopping Osu and playing more StarCraft? Maybe, I don't know. But GG, well played. Congratulations and a shout out to Trigger for taking down Clem for winning, from my recollection, his first WardiTV Monday. I believe his first win in WardiTV Monday. Congratulations, and hope to see more of Trigger in the coming weeks. Hope to see more of him up against these top players. GG. It's crazy what happens when you stop playing Osu. It's crazy. Yeah. Feels invisible, man. True. Trigger played out his mind. He did. Again, when it comes to the games that Trigger was able to claim, there were 2 games where he went for more economic openers that he was able to get away with a greater economic start and just snowball from there. And here we had a bit of a more cheeky build instead. It looked like he was going 2-gate blink, but instead he went into a 3rd gateway into DT. So he did spice things up towards the end as well. So great to see some variety, of course, out of Trigger. GG, well played. As that does wrap up our broadcast for the day. Bearing in mind that the WardiTV Monday number 69 should be starting now, actually. I believe it should be starting now. But we are going to be wrapping up for the time being. When it comes to the rest of our schedule, I think the schedule graphic is updated. Yeah, there we go. We have the updated graphic here. We don't have something scheduled for tomorrow, but we should be back on Wednesday with the Pickassar Cup. On Thursday with the podcast, we have the Thunderfire StarCraft show matches and invitational over the weekend, and Tuna Cup returns on Sunday. If you're a regular here, I do apologize for not going live for the past 5 days. Initially, the plan was to have a 3-day, to take 3 days off, but that was extended into 5 days. For good reason, as speaking of, I do have to attend to that in a moment as well. But thanks for watching, and again, happy New Year's. Hope you've all been enjoying yourselves. This is not the first cast of the year, but again, we've been off for 5 days, so great to be here, great to be back on that grind. For those that are curious as to our absence, we're done casting StarCraft, so you can tune out if you're not too interested. Again, I typically don't really speak on personal matters too much here on the CranKy Ducklings. We try to keep it separate from the StarCraft that we have here, just because this channel is mainly focused on StarCraft content and StarCraft casting. Even when it comes to laddering, I do that on my personal channel, not here on the CranKy Ducklings. We try to keep things a little bit more professional and a little bit more separate, I should say. A little bit more professional, a little bit more separate. But for those who remember, I did get some pet bunnies at the end, halfway through last year. In August of last year, I got some pet bunnies. Have been looking after them. They've been amazing. They've been beautiful, of course. And last week, the reason why we took some time off was because they were getting desexed. I did decide to wait until they were 6 months old. You can get them desexed before that. I think earliest is 4 months, but I wanted to wait a little bit longer to make sure that they were in better health and that they were, a little bit better established before having an invasive operation like that. So I did decide to wait a little bit, and that was scheduled for Wednesday the 7th of January. And things kind of happened there, which is kind of the reason why we took some extra time off. So going into it, I've got two female bunnies, Garina and Chi-Chi, and everything went fine with Garina. Everything went fine. The operation went well. Like she's currently recovering. She has to take medication twice a day. She has to take an anti-inflammatory and take some painkillers as well while she's recovering after the operation, to make sure she's healthy. That was stressful in and of itself, especially the first 2 days where I had to kind of like hand feed her like almost like rabbit baby formula, essentially, because of the incision, because of the pain. She wasn't eating by herself, and that can be dangerous, so it was very stressful. Looking after her basically like 24/7 for the first couple of days. But I bring up Garina because something else happened with Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi's my other bunny. after taking her to the vets, and shout out to our vet as well. Our vet is like an exotics pet specialist. She has her own bunnies as well, so she's great. She's amazing. We were called up on the day a couple of hours after we left them off, that something was wrong with Chi-Chi. That her heart rate was very low. It was very, very low. So they weren't going to operate. Like, it was too low to operate on, and they recommended against it, and maybe to like reschedule a little bit later instead, like on another day. It's like, okay, that's fine. A couple of hours later, got another call. And was notified that that they did some blood work, because we did schedule for them to get some blood work done. And in doing so, they gave Chi-Chi a muscle relaxant, which is meant to be very mild, but in doing so, her heart rate dropped severely, like pretty heavily, even further, to like critical levels, which is not meant to happen. So like, clearly something is wrong, something's going on. They did the blood work. Her glucose levels were very high, but for her heart rate to decrease abnormally like that is not normal, and something clearly was going on. So I got a call. They were like, hey, this is not normal, something's wrong here. I recommend getting an x-ray done, just because this is typically like symptoms and a sign of like an underlying like heart condition. So we're like, okay, go ahead. Very stressful getting calls like this every couple of hours, by the way, while of course they're left at the vet and we're at home. And we were told to come in, so we came in, and again we received Karina. Karina was fine. Again, she's currently recovering as we speak. For Chi-Chi, with the x-rays, they found that her heart is enlarged. She has a big heart. She has a big heart, an enlarged heart, which is abnormal. It's bigger than what is normal for bunnies, and because of that, her body is working extra hard to actually pump blood throughout her body, because it's not built for a bigger heart like that. It was a genetic defect, so it's not like we did anything wrong or anything like that. It's just she was just born like that, and because of that, she's vulnerable to fainting. It takes more time for oxygen to travel around her body, because oxygen, of course, is traveled through red blood cells, and that's, you know, at a lower rate. So because that, she's prone to fainting. She has heavy breathing at times because she needs more oxygen. She's also vulnerable to heart attacks as well, because the cell walls around her heart are thinner than normal. So she's a lot more susceptible to things like that, to things of that nature. Our vet even told us that usually when they diagnose something like this, it's post-mortem. Like, usually people don't even know that their bunny has this. They usually pass away, die, and then afterwards, during like a biopsy or during the autopsy, I should say, when they want to find out what happened, then they find out, oh, like there was like an underlying heart condition here. So that's a little bit terrifying, a little bit scary, of course, when it comes to our bunnies, when it comes to Chi-Chi. And obviously she can't undergo any anesthesia. She cannot get operated on, and otherwise it'd be fatal. Like, she would not survive something like that. So she cannot get desexed. That also means that she's going to be vulnerable to cancer later in life. Uterine cancer is very common amongst bunnies. It's like 80% chance that she's going to get it or something like that. That's why desexing is... The benefits outweigh the risk usually when it comes to reducing the chance of cancer later in life, but we can't do that with Chi-Chi. And we were recommended to go to a vet hospital and to see a bunny cardiologist. As you can imagine, bunny cardiologists are very rare. There's not many of them in the world or in Australia. It's a very niche kind of it's a very niche profession, bunny cardiologist. And we do have one. It's like an hour-and-a-half drives away, which is also like a big thing because it's very stressful for animals to travel that long in cars, and if she's susceptible to something like a heart attack as well under high stress, to be in a car for an hour and a half is already going to be like a big thing to even get her to the cardiologist. Because they're so few and far between, the cardiologists, I mean, it means that they're booked up months in advance. So to schedule an appointment, it's going to be like in March, so it's quite a ways away. So for that sort of thing, just because there's so few of them, and because everyone's obviously, you know, they have a lot of demand, I should say, and low supply, so that's going to be a thing. And yeah, it's been a very stressful week. And on top of that, this week as well, we've had the firestorms, or the bushfires. If you know anything about what's been happening in Australia, there's some heavy bushfires happening in Victoria. Doesn't affect us, but it does affect my family. I have my sister, she lives near the border to Victoria, and there's also been some heavy fires there. Some heavy ash has been falling in the area as well. That's also been concerning to her. They were getting alerts to potentially evacuate if things get a little bit more intense and out of control. So that's been going on. I've been looking after Karina. She takes meds twice a day. She does not like being handled, so making sure that she gets her medication while she recovers, and also trying to look after Chi-Chi. It's been a really rough week, So I do apologize for not casting the last 5 days, but I've been looking after my bunnies and making sure they're okay. We do have an appointment scheduled with a bunny specialist at the hospital for this Friday, so 16th of Friday. That's why you can see here on the schedule Friday is empty, because we're gonna be going there to the hospital for Chi-Chi. Again, that's an hour and a half's drives away. We were given some like medication to help with her anxiety, to help with her stress levels, and hopefully it works out and hopefully everything's okay. But yes, it's been a rough week. It's been poor Chi-Chi. Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, it's the one good thing, the one silver lining is that we caught this early. Like, she's 6 months old. She's very young, which is also really sad as well, because she has to live her life with all these risks and with all these potential medical issues later in life as well. So it is rough, but of course we want to provide her the best life that we can. We're going to be there for her. So that's kind of rough, but because this is something that we're aware of early in her life, then maybe we can try to help with that. There is no cure to this sort of thing. There's no cure. There's nothing like that. All we can do is try to minimize risk with medications, of course, with adjusting the environment for her as well, to make sure that like stress levels are kept low, and we monitor things. I think some of the medication is going to be like blood thinners or something, to make it easier for her blood to actually go through her body and stuff like that. And I mean, we'll find out, right? Like, we're gonna go to the hospital this Friday, so that's also going to be for confirmation as to specifically what heart disease she has. The reason why we have to go to a hospital is because the local vet that we have doesn't have the equipment to conduct like an EKG or an ultrasound or all these other things to like confirm the severity of Chi-Chi's condition. This is like equipment, and these are facilities that they have at like proper vet hospitals, so that's why we have to go there for that sort of thing, to confirm what she has and to confirm the severity as well. Maybe it's like mild, and maybe it's okay, maybe it's more severe. We'll see. So yeah, it's been a lot of phone calls over the past couple of days, scheduling all this stuff, preparing stuff, and trying to do best by our pets. So yeah, it's been that's where I've been for the past 5 days. So I do apologize for not streaming, for not casting. Even tonight, like I was a little bit on the fence on it, and even later on this week as well. But we got to get back into casting. We have a big backlog of events to cast, and a bunch of matches and a bunch of StarCraft. So we'll get back into it eventually. Over the next couple of days, Karina should be recovering nicely, and that's another thing that's been stressful, is separating them. Like, they're bonded sisters, and because of Karina's surgery, we had to separate them so that she can heal, and they are so sad being apart. Like they're always like licking each other through the bars of their enclosures. Like, they want to be with each other, so it's heartbreaking to separate them as well. That also doesn't help with the stress levels of Chi-Chi. So it's just, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Another positive note is that Chi-Chi's a stubborn potato, for sure. Like, Chi-Chi, she's beautiful. She's very brave. She's always the first to test new things and to check new things, and yeah, she's great. She's my first. Someone that takes 3 types of blood pressure meds every day, I can relate. Yeah, it's that. It's also trying to administer the medication without stressing the animal out as well, right? Like, it's we'll do our best. Wrong E qualifiers are going on. Yeah, we're going to be skipping the wrong E qualifiers. We could try, but we don't really have. I have to look after Chi-Chi, so I'm not going to be casting that. But yeah, that's why we've been a little bit dark in recent times. But thank you so much, Stan. Thank you so much for the gift of subs. We appreciate it. Yes, obviously, vet bills have been piling up. It's been very expensive. It was like $500 for the desexing, and I mean, thankfully, I guess that's another silver lining is we didn't have to pay for 2 of them. That would have been $1,000. That would only had to pay for 1 of them, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. I'll see you looking after Chi-Chi. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the supports. We appreciate it. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. We might raid Wardy. If Trigger's live, we might raid Trigger. We'll see. We'll find someone to raid. We'll find someone to send everyone over to. But yeah, it's been quite a week. And see you next time. We'll see you next time. Again, the next stream is going to be on Wednesday. Most likely, it's going to be Pegastar Cup on Wednesday, and the Pondcast on Thursday. We have a lot of catching up to do. We have a lot of catching up to do. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just looking. I don't see many people live, so we'll give a raid to. Oh, we can give a raid to Loco. Loco's live. He's casting the big game finals, I think. Give him some love. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, ciao. Bye, ciao. Thanks for watching.